West Tigers fans. Coming off the bye, we've got a couple of special guests joining us for a bit of fun as a West Tigers podcast all in tonight. Join us for another episode of the West Tigers Life podcast. Welcome in, West Tigers fans, to another episode of West Tigers Live. Please give us a follow. Firstly, I'm your host, Josh Barnett. Please give us a follow on the socials. We are getting so close as well on YouTube. We are in the 1940s, I think, at the moment. So basically where Queensland's living at the moment, I guess. It's Origin week. I've got to have a dig at the Queenslanders. So, yeah, we're literally way less than 100 away from our 2005 goal. So please, thank you to everyone joining us on the YouTube. Please like, subscribe, help out that algorithm. But yeah, try and get us past that 2005 mark as we're aiming for at West Tigers Life on the TikTok. TikTok's nearly at 1,000. It's getting close. Rob, I know you love your TikTok. Twitter. You're back on Twitter too. Well, Bashara.
Plenty of followers.
Plenty of followers coming in for Bashara. Give us a follow there as well. Righto, let's get into it. I've already thrown to him. Mr. Bashara, how are you this evening? Coming off looking very relaxed this week. 2 points for the boys on the weekend.
Yeah, I'm very well, mate. We've had plenty to do this week, considering it was a bye. Got to catch up with these boys on my right Sunday night with it for a really good show. And before I let you introduce everyone else, I just want to thank this man on my right and Adele Haj for an absolutely brilliant pod on Sunday night. If you're not into NRLW, once you watch this, you will be. I was absolutely flabbergasted by the amount of education I got from it. I learnt so much from it. I thought I'd listen to 15 or 20 minutes before I went to bed, and I ended up listening to the whole thing and got to bed after 1 o'clock. So, mate, well done. You did a great job. And if Adele's listening, well done to you as well, mate.
Yeah, Mr. Thompson, great episode for the NRLW preview episode. Adele brought some spice. I thought it might be in a bit of a timid sort of show, but he didn't hold back, even though Mr. Bashara wasn't there. You were hosting, did a great job, but Adele didn't hold back. He said some things that are, as I was listening along, I was like, oh, okay, he's not holding back there.
Yeah, first of all, thank you both for the kind words. Really appreciate it. I had a great time as well. Learned a lot from him myself about some of the other the aspects of the NRLW that I wasn't too clued in on. But yeah, you're not wrong. He definitely didn't hold back. He didn't take a back seat. You get the same sort of content that we've been getting from Adele in the other episodes in this one, and it was pretty top quality stuff from him. And yeah, you could probably tell maybe that I was a little bit nervous at the start hosting it, but
not at all.
Went with the flow, had some fun, and learnt a lot. And yeah, thank you to Adele again for a great chat. And I like he threw a little bit of a comment after we got off air saying that's the first time he hasn't had any technical difficulties during the show. And
my fault.
Kind of insinuated, maybe.
Yeah, it's all good.
Didn't drop out once. Roberto, I might get you to introduce our guest because you were a guest on their podcast on Sunday.
Yes, Sunday.
Published Monday morning.
Well, firstly, I'll introduce my favourite member of the two, Eddie Otto. Eddie, good evening.
Good evening, Rob. How much did he pay you? Appreciate you, Josh, Aaron, and Rob. Obviously, we got talking a couple of weeks ago. I've been a semi-regular listener to your guys' pod the last 4 or 5 years, and I know Rob's infamous some of his sprays, but I also think he's a great pundit, and I really follow him and the one with the Dell this year, the coach's pod. I've learned a lot just listening to that because I'm a career coach in my life outside this, but I couldn't break down coming to that. So it was good fun on Sunday night, and appreciate it.
Well, good to have you here, mate. And
where did the Aussies go wrong against South Africa?
Yeah, you got to expand it for it.
I'll save that for after the show.
And we didn't have him on Sunday night with us, and I was actually quite disappointed about that. But Gary Watson, you're pretty much the guy I take a lot of notes from when you do your pod. But I'm glad you weren't there. You would have taken me to task on a few things. But welcome, mate. Good to have you here. Just tell us a bit more about West Tigers podcast and your role in it, and maybe a bit of the other stuff, the ambush, and some of your events and what have you.
Yeah, I just want to start by saying thank you guys for having me on. There's been a lot of rumours, Rob, that you and I hate each other, and I thought this was a time that I could come on and put those rumours to bed. We could address
Here we go.
Rumors,
Here we go. Yeah.
and we can just confirm it's all true.
100%.
Rob and I hate each other.
That's why Aaron's in the middle, everyone.
No, I have to say,
On camera.
thank you for bringing us on tonight. It's a great pleasure to be here. I listen every week. Don't usually get to watch, but I have a listen to you guys every week. Try to avoid listening before we record ours because a lot of our opinions are quite similar.
Yep.
And to avoid those kind of crossovers of thoughts in my head of stealing your ideas when they are my ideas. Our podcast has been going for a number of years now. Eddie and Joel started at about 2018.
Pipped us by a year.
Yeah. And for a while, they did almost 100 episodes with just the two of them. And then they brought in Declan McCutcheon, who's been on our pod as well. And Steve and I got invited to come on around the start of 2020. And we've kind of gone from there. And Eddie and Joel do a fantastic job. It's a pleasure to be on their pod. So easy going on there and working with them. But really pleased to be here tonight. Steve and I heavily involved in the Ambush as well, which is a fan supporter group. We run game day events.
Yep.
We had an event at Combank last week for
Polo was there.
Yeah, Fanua Pole came along and we did a little bit of an interview with him and had a little bit of a chat to him. Yeah, great thing. Any chance you guys get to come along and join one of our events, we'd love to have you there. And yeah, as I said, thanks guys for having us on. It's a real pleasure to be on here.
Just very quickly before Joel gets annoyed with me, we're very similar format to you guys. We do 2 pods a week, usually review show Sunday night, and then Wednesday midweek pod, and then we've also got the West Tigers podcast forum, which is sort of Joel's baby, which we've started up the last few years, which is a good place to go and discuss everything West Tigers and podcast.
And disagree with Eddie, Nick.
Yeah.
Well, I would have invited Nick Hayes on tonight, but I'm worried he's going to take my spot. So shouts to Nick.
He'll be watching, don't worry.
All right, Rob, might as well let you host. Can you take us through our friends over at iChoice?
Yeah, if you need any of your finance needs taken care of, please give Jason and his team at iChoice a call, 9743 0000. You can find them on the corner of the Boulevard and Liverpool Road, Strathfield. They will look after all your needs and it costs you nothing, all the advice for nothing from A to Z. So please give them a call. They're good people. They look after us, so please look after them.
Shall see our regulars. The comments aren't coming up on my screen for some reason, so I can't actually bring them up at the moment, but we will deal with that. I do see Riff over there in Florida's in there. Shano's there. Blake's there. I can see Carla. We're in there, the early birds. So thank you for joining us, all our regulars. Okay, let's get started with a few West Tigers discussions before we get to our West Tigers game. Richo gave us an update, a 9-minute podcast. Obviously, speaking of West Tigers podcast, do we miss Justin Pascoe doing a whole half hour, or do we prefer Richo doing a quick 9-minute show?
No, definitely prefer the 9 minutes. At least he tries to make it full of content.
Yeah. Does anyone have a take from anything that Richo said?
I just thought the two main takeaways were he was really, really positive about Benji and the coaching staff. That was believable. And it was also a not so subtle little shot at the referees. I thought everything Richo's done sort of planned, I think. So he made a little point there that the subconscious bias maybe against the lower teams, but that were the two main takeaways for me.
Yeah, that was a big one, wasn't it? Him coming out and a CEO really. Can you find a CEO? I think they are looking into finding him.
They are.
Yeah. I mean,
they haven't done anything to Benji yet for his post-game comments.
Yeah. Are they just saying they're going? Is it like one of those things? Say, yeah, I'll do it.
They were looking into it, was what I heard.
Thinking about maybe. It's like you're talking about old movies before Life of Brian. You know how they all discuss about going to do things like the aqueduct, and they never actually do anything. Okay. Anyone old enough?
No.
Life of Brian? No. That's people will get that reference. Anything else that Richo said that
Gary?
Look,
Yeah.
I think coming out about the comments about Campbelltown Stadium again, it's obviously a big push for the club. It worries me a little bit because that area is so important to the West Tigers, in my opinion. I think our ultimate goal should be to be playing the majority of our games there. But to do that, that stadium does need an upgrade. So I'm fully supportive of his comments, but it's going to be interesting what happens in about 2 weeks' time if that funding isn't announced. So I think that's something to really keep an eye on over the next month and heading into the next season, what the West Tigers' plans are for Campbelltown.
Eddie, I'll get you to throw in a comment because your mic's a little bit down. So I'll get you. You got any other takes from Richard there?
Just probably what I said before. Supporting the coaching staff. Message against the referees, but I think the fans wanted to hear from him in the last 2 months. I think he's probably had his hands tied in regards to what's going on with Lockie Galvin. So frustrating not hearing from him probably 3 weeks earlier. But like Rob said, we don't want to be going back to the Euro where it's just a Pascal and hearing from him every week. But,
or Lee, who was sponsoring a radio show just so he could go on once a week and pretty much give all the clubs ideas and views out to everyone. So I prefer Richo's kind of being a little bit quiet over the last month because I prefer that to what we were hearing. And really all I wanted to hear were signings. And we're going to talk about signings a little bit later. But for me, that was the critical part, is getting those signings announced more so than hearing from him. I think it was great to hear from him, but I wanted those signings first.
Rob, I'm just going to fix Eddie's mic up. We will talk about some signings. Adam Reynolds saying no.
Yeah.
Tigers today.
Yeah, sure. I just want to, just on this same topic, Gary, let's just hope like everything does go well with Campbelltown. I know the deadline's June 30th, but should we not decide that's going to be our future in our home ground, would it be looking at Liverpool? Are we looking at Combank? Do you have any, have you been told anything, or do you have any idea what we might do as a backup plan?
Well, I think it's one of the major stadiums is the backup plan. I think the backup plan is either Combank or looking again at a court. My preference is that we play the majority of our games out of Campbelltown. But I don't think a stadium of 17,000 is really appropriate for an NRL team in 2025. So I think it's a move we have to make as a club, is putting pressure on to get those upgrades. It's the same tactic he used for just down the road at Leichhardt Oval. He said last year that if Leichhardt Oval doesn't get improvements, we're not going to play there. And the council came to the party, the state government came to the party, and we got announcements about improvements for Leichhardt. That's what we're looking for Campbelltown, and hopefully something happens in regards to that. It's going to be hard now that the elections are over. But Campbelltown has to be the future. It has to be the majority of our games. But it's a real 17,000 just doesn't cut it for me.
No, it's not good enough. Let's talk about Adam Reynolds, Eddie. Obviously, he's knocked back a 2-year deal and decided to stay with the Broncos for a lot less money. How do you feel about that? Were you happy with Adam Reynolds coming? Did you feel Latu we should be going with? What are your thoughts?
I never really thought he was interested in coming here. Same for DCE, experienced half, 1 or 2 years. It's tempting. I can see why it's very tempting. It was interesting. I don't know if it was through Adam Reynolds or just whispers out there that, you know, West Tigers are after an organising half. So we definitely need something else, and that's nothing against Latu. I just think, given his injury history the last couple of years, I don't think Bud Sullivan's the answer, even though he'd be a backup. But yeah, I still think there could be something out there. Maybe there's a big curveball with DCE. I'd be very shocked if he end up the West Tigers. But I think I'd be more than happy to run with Latu, Jerome. But I think they need something else, even if it's backup.
A bit of question for all you guys. Moving ahead with Latu, we do still need halves. We need at least a backup or a plan A. Are you guys looking at a plan A or a plan B in your opinion? Are you running with Latu, or are you looking at putting someone over the top of him to mentor him for a year? What would be your preference?
Aaron, you got any thoughts on that before I put my 2 cents worth?
Yeah, I think Latu should be the plan A. I think he's the one that we kind of want to build the club around now, and he'd be where I'd be going. I think if we give the halves combo of Luai and Latu a chance to gel, I think there's a lot of potential there. I'm a little bit unsure about long-term whether Jerome would stay number 7 in that case. I think it might be best because we know Latu has not just preference, but ability to be the 7, because in the younger days when it was him and Galvin and the others coming through and they were the team, he was the 7. So if Latu then becomes the 7, then Jerome gets to become the running 6, which is basically what he was at Penrith, where he doesn't have to be the main man. Like we're paying him to be the main man, but that's potentially more of an off-field thing in the end. And I think it would work out that way in regards to Latu 7, Jerome 6.
Yeah, I'm happy with Latu being 7. As I said on your pod Sunday night, just strictly from a footy point of view, guys, he's the one bloke that straightens our attack. And if you can get that first receiver straightening up your attack, then obviously your outside men have got a little bit more room to work with and create some space, and the whole runners can take those gaps and take advantage of it. So I mean, we do have Bud Sullivan there, as you say, as a backup. I don't want to be investing too much money in halfbacks. Like, hopefully Bud Sullivan is committed somewhere else, and then we know, right, we've got 500 grand extra, and then maybe we decide to look at a backup half. But right now, for me, I mean, I think it'd be a little bit disrespectful if given we were happy to throw the keys at Galvin, and now that he's gone, I mean, surely Latu thinks, well, this is my opportunity. If he gets injured, he gets injured, but I think we have to run with him.
Look, I'm pretty much in the same boat. The concern I have is those hamstrings. It's been an ongoing issue now for 2 seasons. And I have him as my preference moving forward as well. I think the way he straightens creates room for the players around him. But my concern is I think we need a really good backup below him. And I'm not talking just a young guy. I think we need someone with a bit of experience below him, so that if these problems do continue and he misses a chunk of next season like he has a chunk of this season, that we're not floundering because of that. I think it's really crucial what we do around that backup role to support Latu moving forward.
Are you back, mate, or you want me to keep going?
No, I think we're sweet. The microphone, I turn it on and off again. So
Eddie didn't have the microphone.
This is why we do ours on Zoom, because this looks like hard work.
We've got colour coming up for you now, so it was all good.
Get on to the signings, yeah?
Get on to the signings, yes. Let me move along the slide. Don't worry about the slide. KPP, and I'll go to our guests. KPP and May. Where should we start? Maybe the softer one, KPP?
Yeah, I won't say I watch Newcastle closely every week, but definitely in the last month since he's been linked to us, I've been encouraged by what I see. I just think he ticks a lot of boxes for the profile of player we sort of want. I think he's 24, right position. He's got good height. He can offload. Not the most consistent player in the world, but he's been on big money Newcastle. And if the rumours are right and we've got him for a reasonable price, 550 or whatnot, I think it's an excellent sign.
Yeah, I think it's the type of player we need. That right edge for me, that right second rower is probably the biggest weakness in the side at the moment. So getting a guy like Pierce Paul to come across, I think, will really benefit us moving forward. I've seen a lot of comments from fans that he's not that involved in games. But if you have a look at that Newcastle side, they're left side heavy. So most of their play goes that left side. And that right side that he's been sitting on, it's a little bit quiet. The ball doesn't come there near as much. So I think we'll see a very different player when he comes across to the West Tigers next year. I think he's a huge upgrade on Safar for that second row position. And that's what I like about what Richo has been doing so far, is for the most part, when we have had a player leave or a player move on, he's been able to strengthen the squad. He's done a really good job of identifying weaknesses. I think the Skelton signing is a perfect example of that. They identified that we have a lot of trouble coming out of our own end. So they went and had a look in reserve grade and got probably the best reserve grade guy coming out of their own end who's stuck behind people. And I see that as another signing like that, where we've identified a weakness in our side and we've gone out and we've found a guy who can fix that. And that's what gives me confidence that we're going to continue to improve at the moment.
Phil Rogers, our man over there in England, he says if you watch his Wigan Warriors, they used him a lot better than Newcastle do. So, yeah, look, it's funny how when you sign a player from another club, you do start to watch them closer. So I have actually been motivated to watch the last couple of Newcastle Knights games, and it does seem like they just don't use him enough. And when he does have the ball, he does look like, I wouldn't say dominant, but interesting enough that my excitement's getting up there for him to come along.
The thing with Newcastle's attack, I think, is it follows Ponga. Wherever Ponga goes is where their attack goes. And a lot of the time being the fullback, that bypasses the second rower because Ponga then becomes the link man between the forwards and the dummy half and the halves, and then the outside backs.
Gary, you saying?
Yeah, look, we're going to have a little bit of that issue as well, because that right-hand side for us so far, especially this season, has really been bullers to me. So that sort of will be an issue moving forward as well. And it's probably why Seyfarth hasn't quite got as much ball, even though there's other issues there. So I think it's something we're going to have to work him into games. But he's big, he's got power, a little bit inconsistent, and he hits fairly well in defence. So I think he'll be a really good signing for us.
Righto, moving on. Anything else, Roberto?
I agree with what the boys said. I'm not 100% sold on him, but given what he's shown the last few weeks, it's very encouraging. The thing I like the most is his offloads. I think that offload, we can really utilise that and have guys running off him. And, you know, if defences start targeting, you know, Buller and Toa, then he's just going to be finding some real good holes. So definitely a massive upgrade. And as Gary said, it is probably our weakest position at the moment.
Last bit of news before we get to our drafts. Jerome Luai called in the Blues squad late. Are we happy about that, or?
Yeah, I didn't think I would be, but I was actually really happy because I couldn't give a stuff about it, or is it really anymore? Like, I almost was going for Queensland game one. I know that will sound terrible, but
yeah, I almost want to kick off the show, but yeah.
the way I thought that, I thought it was a bit of a hatchet job on Terrell May, and I took offence to that. Like, I thought he was not picked basically 3 months ago, red pen, and then obviously Mitchell Moses ahead of Jerome. You couldn't argue with that, but I just feared with Jerome that if he didn't play rep footy, and if we sort of slide and finish in the bottom 4, and he looks ahead to the next 4 years and looks into the wilderness a bit and goes, oh, no rep footy, I'm at the West Tigers. And I know Rob's made the point several times that you don't want to have that reputation when players come to your club that they've got the red pen through them for rep footy. And that's Jerome's been great this year, I think, or he's been a 7 out of 10 most weeks. So I think it'd be great for us, even if he misses 1 or 2 games, if New South Wales can win 3-0 and he carries that positive vibe back into us, hopefully gets rid of that little clause in his contract.
Robson ahead of Appy was an interesting one too, wasn't it?
Well, probably, but I mean, Appy's sort of just out of the picture. No one even really talks about him for rep footy anymore. I don't understand why. I hope it's not just because he's at the West Tigers, but it's sort of, that one hasn't really made any media noise or anything. The fact that Appy's...
I don't mind Appy not being in the Origin arena at this point in his career. We have a look how his seasons are going the last couple of years. The back end of the seasons got really tough for him. And that, I think, not having that extra responsibility, and though I'm sure he'd love to be playing it, I think it's better for the West Tigers that Appy's not getting selected in those games. I think it's fantastic that Jerome's in there. I think it's really important that we can show that a guy like he can come across to our club and still make those rep level games, because we do have that little bit of a stigma that your rep career ends if you go to the West Tigers.
Yeah, one thing I thought since we talked about it, no, we didn't talk about it last week. It's happened since last week. One thing, recent thought that I did have about it might be a little bit of 4D chess, but Jerome going into Blues camp, are there any Blues players coming off contract? Could Jerome get in the ear of a player to say, hey, it's actually pretty good over at Concord. We're building something here. Are there any Blues players, even the extended squad, are they all kind of locked up with their clubs?
Tyler's locked up.
Anyway, I guess he talks to Brian all the time anyway. I guess that one doesn't really matter. But
look, I can't pull off the top of my head of anyone who is off contract, but I think we've already seen in the past that Jerome does have that influence with other players. He was speaking to Terrell May when they were trying to get Terrell May across to the club.
Yep.
So I'm sure if there's any opportunity there for him to kind of promote the West Tigers and get guys across, I'd say Taruva's another guy that Jerome being in the club was a big influence on him coming over. So I'm sure he's doing it if there's the opportunity there. I just can't off the top of my head think of anyone who is coming off contract at the moment.
Just get more Panthers.
I think one thing that's important, and I mentioned it with Eddie and the boys on Sunday night, is if Jerome Luai has a massive game tomorrow night, then you've got to say that's almost a dress rehearsal for where he should be playing at our club. Because if Cleary can straighten up the attack, the New South Wales attack like he does, then obviously Latu Fain who can do the same for us. So maybe that answers our questions. And I'm actually just really happy for him that he's playing. He needs a bit of, like, he's so committed to our club, but I just think he needed that reward. He has not shown in any way any type of disgruntlement towards what's going on. He still talks a good game. He shows it on the field. And, you know, like I said, I'm just happy that we've got a Tiger in there and we have a little bit more interest. And just before we jump on, Josh, just got to talk about Taylor May, to see what the boys think of Taylor May.
Yes,
Yeah, so we accidentally skipped Taylor May. So what do you think there, guys? Because that's actually caused quite a bit of controversy amongst all our fan base. So where do you guys stand on it?
Well, I think you guys disagree. I've listened to Aaron's take on it, your take, and
Yep.
I see both sides of it. But I just think the fact it's train and trial, it's low risk for us. You know, like it's a position of need, left centre. I know he's 2 or 3 years ago was the footy he played, but again, fitting that profile, he's 24, his best footy's ahead of him. I know there's a lot of red flags there, more than usual. But given train and trial, I think it's definitely worth a crack the rest of the season.
Yeah, I have to agree with that fully. I don't think there's a lot of risk there for us, but there's plenty of upside. He is a really good footballer. Hasn't shown it in a few years because he hasn't been playing, but there is a really good footballer there. The fact that if we had signed him to a 2-year top 30 contract, then I have a lot of problems with it because you're locking into a guy that you don't know what his form's going to be like. You don't know what his behaviour is going to be like. Now, a train and trial contract, if his form doesn't come back over the next few months, then you got an out because you got him on train and trial. If the behaviour isn't or the culture fit isn't what you're looking for, then you've got an out. And the other thing I do like about it, but I wouldn't have signed him for, is it puts bigger anchors down to Terrell May at the club. Having his brother there.
Well, if he leaves though,
look, it depends under the circumstances. The club's giving him a chance.
Yeah.
If he goes out and he does something and he ruins that chance, I'm sure Terrell May's going to see that in the right light. I think the fact of having his brother here is a benefit at this point in time. And the other thing that I do give the club credit for is there's a good knowledge of what Taylor May's like. There's a lot of guys in our club who have known him for a long time. Loy's a Mount Druitt boy. The Mays are from Mount Druitt. These guys know each other. And if the leaders of our clubs, guys like Appy and Jerome and Terrell, are happy to have him come across, then I'm happy to trust their judgment on it because it's not a guy that they know just a little bit about. They really know this guy. So if they're happy to put their trust in that and they think they can help him be the person and the player that he needs to be, then I'm happy to trust them on that.
I love the Terrell May vlogs, but I don't know about the May Boys podcast. Just
Haven't listened to one yet.
it's not out yet, but I just thought,
okay.
I don't know if I'd be.
Is that because they're not eating hamburgers on it?
Terrell
Yeah,
May vlogs are awesome.
just what they might, because they're live as well. So
I think it's only an idea at the moment. I just follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
He's been sort of promoting the fact that it's coming. I thought I just want Taylor to just be in the shadows.
the club would be, they'd be like very nervous about that. Yep. All right, we're going to get into our West Tigers all-time player draft, but so to make it even, Az is going to be the referee, the bunker in the middle.
Biased referee.
Do you take bribes? Like something under the table?
Well, there can't be a West Tigers bias, so because it's West Tigers v West Tigers. But to determine who goes first, Az, you've come up with trivia questions. Best series of 5, is that right?
So there's 4 of them with a tiebreaker if the scores are tied after the 4.
Okay, it's that lotto.
If we get any of these right, we're going to be genie-eyed because I know what sort of questions he'll be plucking. Going to need Rain Man type answers, aren't we?
What are you thinking I might ask then?
Oh, you know what the score? Who scored a try in what minute or what game or something?
Yeah, not quite. I haven't gone quite that intense.
Oh, well, let us have it, mate. Should be fun.
And you said name?
So we're going to be
Name is a
buzzing
buzzer.
for these first 4. Yep. So
Name.
Shout out your name.
going to all be individually buzzing.
My buzzer's Eddie.
It's a great idea, by the way. I watch a lot of American sort of podcasts.
Yeah.
Now,
Draft stuff. And I
Are
get
you going to need to keep a sheet to write down our names of our
Az
teams?
and I have been talking maybe on trivia sort of stuff.
Like-
I think Josh said he's got a slide.
Oh, you've got a slide up that you're going to put the team up on, or as we go, like when we pick our.
But we don't need it now, do we?
Yeah, not
Oh,
right now.
surely you need it as you go.
I'm going to update.
Yeah,
the
sweet.
screen. Yeah.
All right. So the first question: Who kicked the first ever field goal for the Tigers?
Josh.
Rob. Okay, you go. Or are we a team? Can we discuss
Yeah.
this?
You can discuss it.
Craig Field?
Yeah, Craig Field.
Correct.
Yeah, I was there against the Panthers.
It was round 2. I think it might have been against the Warriors.
I was at a game where he kicked one against.
I think they turned our mics off, Eddie.
All right.
That's right.
Question 2. In what year did the Tigers first win a Golden Point game?
Eddie. Oh, 2007. I'm going to go against Cronulla, Campbelltown.
Correct.
Wow. Does he get bonus points for that
I
brilliant piece of...
I was actually
Golden Point
I
coming.
came in 03. I was at that game, and Benji Marshall, we actually got a penalty goal, and he kicked it in Golden Point.
Wow. I don't even remember it.
I had a couple of hints there for that one as well. So if they were required, I was thinking,
I think Yoddie's asked us that question before. That's why you knew it.
Well done.
All right,
question 3. How many wins have the West Tigers had in a row at most before suffering their first loss of the season?
Rob.
Oh,
Before the first loss of the season. Oh,
he
bugger.
nearly got us all.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got to go. Then I'll guess 4.
No, I think it's
Not
Yeah.
correct.
Eddie, I don't think we've ever won 3 in a row to start a year.
Yeah,
We
it's
go
always-
2.
Correct.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go for our longest ever winning streak.
You're going to embarrass
I did know that.
No, I thought it was going to be longest ever winning streak. What would that be, Eddie?
8.
Is it 8 or isn't it 9 in 2011 before we
The
lost?
finals, maybe 9.
Yes.
It was 8 at the end of the season.
Yeah, and we beat St George. Yeah, I thought it was 9. That's what I thought where he was going. So, just trying to weasel my way out of my bad answer. Yeah.
You had the exact logic that I was hoping someone would come up with for that question as well. We had never won 3 in a row to start a season.
All right, next
I
question.
blame Jordan.
Next question you ask, I'm going to scream out Eddie.
Question 4. So out of the 13 other teams that were in the competition when we joined, which was the last one we defeated?
This is a very stats man question.
Exactly. You know what you get when you ask. You know what you're going to get when you ask me to do this.
It's like one of 2. I'm going to go Roosters.
Incorrect.
No, we
Gary.
beat them 2005.
I'm
Except the
going
last team we
to go Brisbane.
Correct.
That was the other team.
Damn.
A zig.
Got a
What should
draw,
have said.
round 1 draw, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
3-1. West Tigers podcast.
So you're not
win.
carrying me.
We can still do the tiebreak if you want.
Yeah,
Is that a who am I?
that's- No,
Yeah, just rub it in. Just rub it. Whatever to the mercy rule. Yeah, do the tie. What was the tiebreaker question?
The tiebreaker question was closest answer wins. What was the final crowd total for the 2005 grand final?
Josh.
This is a Yachty question.
Yeah, but
Josh, 8. I'll go. The capacity should have been 80. They had the highest section.
we because Gary always cheats with these because
we'll go one under
higher.
or
We'll
one
go
over.
one under.
Oh, good price is right. Stop.
Price is
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I was. That's why
Let
it
us
was
go
gonna be
That's why we're going to have to
tiebreaker.
write it down, I think. That's
Yeah,
what we're
that's
going to have to write
exactly
it
why
down.
I was going to get you to write it down if it was actually a tiebreaker.
I don't know. 78,500.
No, it was above 80.
I'll go
It was
82.
it was a bigger configuration than they still had the upper section. I think it's 86.
Okay.
No, they didn't. When we had, I think the biggest grand final ever was Melbourne and St George when we were set for the
I
Olympics.
was in the upper section.
That was
It
like
doesn't
100 and
exist
something
anymore.
thousand.
Why don't all 4 of you have your own guesses?
I'll go 86.
I'll go 82.
82,
What did you say?
Now I've had mine. 78.
78.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm going to go 79.
It's got to be above
79.
80, surely.
Rob, 82.
82. I was 82.
To be exact,
Of course, I got the
now.
consolation prize.
to be
Respectable.
exact,
82.
82,453.
Okay. Better than losing by 3.
We're like Queen-
It's
Well done, boys.
like better than losing by 64.
Well done, boys. Well, you get first pick at going at
Okay.
Benji Marshall. But sorry, go on. Yeah, go.
Hang on, before we do that, I was going to give a shout out to the Coaches Report by Adele, which is sponsored by Gym Direct. So if you are looking to, if you can set up a commercial gym, a home gym, or just want some fitness equipment, go to Gym Direct. If you go to West Tigers, our link tree, you can find a link to Gym Direct's landing page for the West Tigers Life podcast, and they will give you 5% off with the code WTLXGD5. Or if you're a personal trainer, you can contact them, mention us, and you get 10% your equipment. So if you want, literally set up a whole gym business. You can save thousands with our little discount there if you're going to go all the way, or if you want a couple of dumbbells or a couple of kettlebells or something. Boys, are you big on gym? You got gym memberships?
Yeah, I look at, don't I?
You can
be
see
a power lifter.
you can see Josh why we don't do visual podcasts on West Tigers podcast. It's just audio. But, I go there
Speak for
once.
yourself.
Thanks, Gary.
We already had someone in our I think it was the YouTube comments earlier who was like, "Oh, so that's what Eddie looks like."
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen
Yeah,
it.
that's what that sounds like.
All right.
Righto, boys.
Number one pick.
Yep.
Take it away. Number
All
one
right.
pick.
This is going to be almost sacrilege and very controversial. But me and Gary had a little chat because we got a strategy, and we know West Tigers are a little bit light in some positions for an all-time team. So our first pick is going to be the premiership winning captain, Scotty Prince.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to read your mind, Rob.
Well, I thought you were going to go Marshall, so I was definitely going to talk Josh into going Prince. Josh, I don't think they've left us any choice
Man
but
formerly known as Scott Prince.
to get to the man that gave him a kiss on the cheek.
Yeah, it's got to be Ben.
It's got to be Benji. Are we happy with Benji?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
Benji at 6.
All right, let's
Benji at
take
6 or Benji at 7?
no Benji at 6. Benji at 6.
I was joking.
Okay, back to you guys.
Yeah, we looked at our halves and we wanted the best combination. So we're going for Jerome Luai as our 6.
Okay, now do we just leave our halves strategy alone now and go to another position?
You guys to go so quickly. I'm trying to type here.
You're right. You take your time. Well, look, I would have now
I'll,
that
I'll talk
now-
about Scotty Prince for a minute. If you want. I just thought,
Yeah.
go for it.
Pull on each
Yeah.
string. Give me some.
yeah, no,
Give me
like
some time.
Rob, what do you think about like? I listened to a podcast that he did. Like it was probably 5 years after he retired, where he said the biggest regret of his career was leaving the Tigers at the end of 06. And I look back and I thought, like he was the perfect mix of silky and organised. And you know, the years past that, they tried Benji at halfback and everything. So I don't know what my emotion is of him, even though he's our premiership winning captain. I feel like we could have had him for 10 years.
I love him, but as we discussed, I mean, it really was a family decision. I think all of his wife's family is from Queensland as well. And yeah,
He's from Mount Isa.
I think he did get injured a little bit in 2006 as well the next year. So he didn't quite play the season that we wanted from
Benji
him.
did his shoulder.
But he was the link between all that brilliance we had in 2005. And I think just to go further with what you're saying about trying to make Benji a number 7, which Sheen's tried to do, I think that took away a lot of his attacking ability for a period. He never really rediscovered it till 2010, 2011, that running game. He had to become that organizer, that general. And, you know, he started developing that wonderful passing game, but no one could do what Benji used to do. And he kind of lost that, you know, the step and what have you.
Just on Prince, what's really interesting about his time at the West Tigers, and you can't say it about many players who only spend a small amount of time at our club, is his best football was at the West Tigers. That 05 year, that's the best he ever played. And for a guy who was only at our club for 3 years, you can't say that about many of them. Most of them who have a short stint at our club come along, they stink it up for a couple of years, and they're great before, and then they go off and be great after they left.
True.
Scott Prince, he was the guy that came in, and like Benji, Pat Richards, Hodjo, all these guys get a lot of credit for Farah. They all get a lot of credit for 05. Scott Prince, because that short time at the club, probably doesn't get the credit he deserves for what he brought to our club and what his presence meant for that side. And I think it was you say on our podcast the other night, Rob, that the fact that Mark O'Neill was captain for the majority of that season, and when Mark O'Neill came back from injury in time for the semi-finals, Tim Sheen's made the big call of sticking with Scott Prince, and I think that shows what he was giving to our club during that time. And it was really disappointing to see him leave our club. I think that gap of that 4-year premiership drought that seems like nothing now, but was really hard at that time. Him leaving the club really cemented that in for us. And if we had him during that time, there's probably at least another couple of semi-final appearances between 05 and 2010.
That's a great summation, mate. I have a choice in mind, but if I discuss it openly, we're going to have to go with it.
I think we both know.
If you guys want to,
we don't. What's our biggest weakness at the moment in the club?
Not the CEO anymore.
Well, I was going to say the right back rower, the right edge back rower, the man from England. They can't replace that. They can't replace that. And he's got his name as well.
no, you're
So
right.
let's go Gaz.
Oh,
Before we continue with this, should we let the
He was
people?
11 or 12. What did he wear more? Sorry.
Was he 11? Number 11? I can't even
He was
remember.
12.
I reckon he was 11. 12?
Can't remember.
12? Okay,
Not-
12.
none of that matters.
Do we want to talk about Gareth
He-
Ellis for a little bit?
Oh,
He was our next choice.
Yeah.
Really?
So, you snaked us there.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're one each now. You took Prince with the first choice, deservedly.
I think he's in the top 5 players, top 4 players our club's had. What he gave
I'd argue
to
for number one.
yeah,
He's that good.
In terms
what
of
he gave to our
signings,
club.
in signings, he's possibly number one.
Yeah, probably outside signing, he's the biggest guy to come into the club. What he gave to those sides in 2010 and 2011, then we're not the force we were in those years without Gareth Ellis playing on that edge. And rightfully so, last year or the year before it was, became a life member of the club. And I think that's very well deserved. And I was talking about a guy who didn't spend a lot of time at the club. That's another one who really contributed to our club and gave our club a lot more than they took. So very disappointed when he went back to England, but what a fantastic player.
I think he was Player of the Year 3 years in a row.
He was.
That's remarkable. And part of those two sides that went really close to a premiership in 10 and 11. So, no, forever respect. For
We
Tommy.
had a great pack, but it seemed like he carried the pack. You know, it was
He had that point of difference. He had that intimidation where if you look up, I'm sure you're like, I don't want to run it, Gareth Ellis.
Yeah.
No?
Or have him run at me.
genius player. Who have we got next, boys?
Our pick, we're going to go to the centres. We're going to have to build a forward pack soon, Gary, because we've got our halves. But I thought, given it's a draft, West Tigers history, I don't think we've had too many great centres, but the clear standout for me is Chris Lawrence. One club man, over 250 games. Obviously, the best part of his career was the earlier part before that terrible hip injury. But to convert from the centres to the back row showed what a real tough player he was. So lock him in, Chris Lawrence, centre.
Robbie?
I'm thinking we should go a centre as well, because they'll probably get that centre combination. We'll be pretty stuffed. I'd like to go Paul Fadawira.
No, I've got to go Robbie.
No. If they go Robbie, we go Appy. It's all good, mate. I got it going on here. I got it going on. So let's go Fadawira.
Give you a bit of thinking
ask me.
time.
Don't ask me if you want to talk about it. We're happy to talk about it.
What would you have gone, Aaron?
I don't think he's my next pick for centre.
Well, I just think we need centres, because then we're going to be going back 25 years to get centres, in my opinion. They took like Chris Lawrence's best prior to that hip injury, the stuff he did in 2010, 2011. I think he played for Australia before. He never got to play Origin. He played for
And
Australia.
if he didn't get that
first.
injury, for me, he's a 10-year Origin player.
Yeah.
He just had that much speed, power. Would have to be probably the quickest guy we've had at the club. And the way I measure a centre is you have a look at the guys that play outside them, the wingers, and Taniela Tuaki playing outside him, scored 21 tries in a season. Takiri came in, played outside him, and scored close to 20 tries as well. A lot of that, and Chris did a lot of that. A lot of his best play was without the ball. That crash line he used to run, and his ability to draw defenders without the ball even coming to him, that created space for those outside men. I think is second to none of pretty much any centre I've ever seen.
He never played Origin, which is pretty sad. He played for Australia.
Yes.
Not because Tim Sheens was coach, but it probably helped.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, 250 games, but the last 100, he was almost on one leg.
Well, before you go on, let me say two things about Paul Fadawira. I think we forget that he won a premiership with Penrith 2 years earlier,
Shane Alford.
in 2003. So, and what he did for us, some of the plays he did, like in those home and away games especially, he was absolutely brilliant. And, I think he's very much, we were talking about underrated players on your pod the other day, Eddie. I know he won a premiership with two clubs, but I think he's, vastly underrated.
But two unfancied clubs as well. Like Penrith came from nowhere.
Yeah.
West Tigers came from nowhere. And that style of football, he was so suited on it because he had that great tip-on play to the winger. He had a great passing game. And so,
Can you just check the spelling of Fadawira for me?
WH
is as good as I got.
UIRA.
Fadawira, have you selected him? I'm not going to talk him up if you.
Apparently,
We've selected him. He's in.
I'm just making sure you selected him before.
We've got Lawrence and we've got Fadawira. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Because I think you should be selecting Blake
Did I
Ashford.
get it right?
That should be your selection at centre.
Oh,
but
it's close. I said the eye in the wrong spot.
Hey, Blake
But-
H for 2010
Right.
is very good.
100%. Eddie and I spoke about Blake Ashford last night, but Fadawira was a key part of that premiership winning side. The amount of tries that we were scoring from inside our own half and back-to-back tries where they would score and then the next set of 6 would go pretty much full length of field and score again. If you watch back that season, a lot of those long-range tries, it's Fadawira.
Yeah.
It's another guy who probably didn't play long enough at our club. Huge fan, and his work that he's done in his life after football, he's roles in welfare with rugby league players. Yeah, he can't be commended high enough.
Oh, great.
Huge respect.
Yeah.
So have you got that down for us, mate?
Yeah, I think I spelled his name wrong again. Yeah,
That's
so
right. I don't know how
I've
you
got
spelled
it.
his name. Okay, what's your
I'll
next
let
pick?
Gary's
Can
going
you
to
notice the
before we continue
preparation
on.
they've gone to with all this? We haven't even spoken about it, and they're just like,
Not our problem.
Before we continue on, I might as well mention that the reason why I'm sitting here in the middle between the two teams is because my knowledge
Because we're going to fight? Oh, no.
my knowledge pre 2016 isn't all that great, because 2016 was when I really started to get into footy, and that's when I became a member and everything as well. So we figured this was kind of a good thing to have the two
Oldies.
experienced guys on both
Did
sides.
you just call me old?
Us.
I would have
Older than
Yeah.
me.
I would have loved
I
to
wish
be
I was young
against
enough to
Gary.
be
I
old.
wanted to be against Gary. 'Cause we always fight. But
But the other
Next to
reason,
always.
the other reason why was because we figured that I could, if there are players that I don't know too much about that we haven't gone into too much detail about, I can ask for a little bit more info and like further my education, further my knowledge about the players. So that's for all the listeners out there why I'm not as involved in this at the moment. And I think we should also mention, Josh, that we're going to be getting the listeners to vote for which team
Yes, on
they
the
think would
socials.
win.
I might
the
ask them a
socials
question later too, Gary, at the end of it, and get their responses.
All right.
You know what it's going to be.
I know what the question is,
Yeah.
and I'm right.
All right. We're 6 players out of 26 in.
yeah.
What's
No,
next?
Gary's going to do our
That's
next
good, mate.
pick.
This is good
It's-
fun.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun.
We are starting to build our forward pack now, a
Okay.
crucial part. We're going straight to the engine room. We're going to prop. And there's been a lot of guys who have played plenty of football at our club. This guy's new to our club. We're taking Terrell May. The season he's having so far this season at our club, I think it puts him up there as close to the best prop we've had at our club. So, yeah, our next selection's Terrell May.
Where do you want to go, sir?
Is that? I'll just ask though. Is that controversial, Rob? Having a guy that's, I mean, he's only played, I think, 13 games
Well,
for us. But like,
the boys actually said they wanted to make it someone who hadn't played a full season. So, for
Yeah.
example, like if you want to be really technical, I won't put it in your head, and you're probably not going to select him anyway. But Josh Addo-Carr played for our club,
Yeah.
and not a full season. So he was off to Melbourne.
I think we're talking about the player when they were at the club. Their
Well
peak-
done,
the
Josh.
Peak, the peak of the player when they're
Oh,
at that club.
okay, don't go there. Don't
Well
go.
done,
We're going to
Josh.
get into it. We're going to get into it later. When we've got to the back of the show, we're getting it. In fact, can we pick him now?
So Jerome
We got the
Luai,
juicy
they're picking
topics
Jerome
coming up
Luai
later.
now.
Yeah.
As a Tiger, not Jerome Luai as
Do you want to go to hooker, or can I pick the best fullback that's ever played for the club?
we're going Tedesco.
Yeah. Oh, look, you
Yeah.
didn't know what the
Yeah.
question was. You want to go Tedesco?
I've only heard you
Because they're going to
ramble
take
about it all
Hodgson.
week.
They're going to take Hodgson. You know that.
Yeah, they've been. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Did you go, Teddy?
Yeah, we've gone Teddy.
Oh, wasted pick.
We've gone Teddy. What Teddy did in 2016, no fullback has replicated or ever will replicate what he did. And he was only 23 at the time. Hodgson won a premiership at 27. Okay, so he was a lot more experienced, and not bagging Hodjo, but those other 4 years that he was at the club, we never played finals. So I know Tedesco didn't play in finals, but I think if Tedesco had played behind that 2005 team, he just would have been absolutely elite. So Teddy for me, but I get what you're saying about he went on and did better things, but let's be fair. Okay, let's not even talk about the great players. 90% of West Tigers players that have left our club have improved, whether we like to believe it or not. So I don't think that argument that he got better at the Roosters is fair, because a lot of players have improved when they've gone to other clubs.
he did play Origin when he was at the Tigers, Tedesco. So
Yeah.
but
Oh,
I
thanks
just
for backing my
I
argument.
just
That's
thought
good.
Brett Hodgson's season in 05 was out of this world.
It was.
He scored
was.
over 300
A lot.
points. He scored 30 points in a finals game, 3 tries, and I think it was 9 goals against Cowboys week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the amount of ball playing and stuff he did, I know you had Farah and Prince and Marshall, and it was a better side. But maybe I'm scarred by the fact that Tedesco left. And if you're talking overall NRL career, no doubt Tedesco. But in West Tigers colours for what they did for us, Brett Hodgson every day. He's not our next pick because we're going to have him.
Yeah,
whenever
we
want.
don't need. We
can
can
save
pick
him
him
there.
last.
You
now.
can leave him last, but you goaded me into it, so it was a good work by you guys.
Yeah, for me, it comes down to what Josh said. It's about how they played while they were at our club. And if I had to pick the best player, I'm picking James Tedesco is a far better player than Brett Hodgson was. But their time at our club, I've got Brett Hodgson in front of him. I like a fullback, as I've said to you in the past, Rob. I like a fullback who can chime into the line, who can ball play, who can create space for an outside man, and that's Hodjo. Tedesco did develop a little bit of a passing game, but that didn't happen until after he left our club. And for me, having Brett Hodgson at our club while we've got a guy like Dream Buller coming through, I think it's ideal because that's how they're a very similar sort of player. And I want to see, I think Dream does really well chiming into our sweep plays and playing out the back. But Hodjo did that plus played through the middle. And that's why I rate him so high is he was able to fill multiple roles in our side. That's what I want to see Dream Buller develop.
Fair
He's
enough.
really good at chiming into our back line, but I want to see him develop that playing through the middle, how Hodjo used to do that as well, and running off our forwards and getting involved in those offloads. We're putting out a lot of offloads this year, and to have a guy like Dream Buller pushing up through the middle, I think will make a big difference. Hodjo was brilliant at all that sort of stuff, and I'm not disrespecting James Tedesco at all, but for me, his best football was after he left us, and his level at us was just below what Brett Hodgson provided.
Mate, you make valid points. I can't disagree with anything.
I
there.
agree. I think
I want the
Tedesco
viewers
was
to let us know in the comments if their life depended on it, who they want as their fullback.
But we're talking 2016 Tedesco.
No, well, it's
But I still think 2016 Tedesco is better.
you know the thing for me with
I agree
Tedesco,
with you.
Tedesco had to change his running motion, from his knee injuries.
Yeah.
He's actually so much slower that even when he played for New South Wales, I remember him getting run down from behind. When he first came into our team, well, obviously he got injured first game, but when he came back into our team a year later, he was the road runner. Like he was the fastest bloke you could imagine. I just imagine him in that 2005 team. I just go, wow.
People forget that he learnt to pass the Roosters. You watched those gaming at Leichhardt where he scored a hat trick, I believe, and he was just.
What about the one where he beat about 8 Cowboys?
Yeah, I remember that.
That 2016.
I think
was
his
crazy.
ball playing was underrated too. It got better, the Roosters, but I still think it was underrated.
The big thing I do want to say about Tedesco, and it's not West Tigers related, is I thought he was done last year. I thought his career was finished, and the way he's come out and played this year, he should be playing in that State of Origin team. I think he's been the form fullback of the competition, and I didn't expect that from him. And I'm still dirty on him for leaving, so I'm not a huge supporter of him. But he has had a much better year than what Edwards has had, and should be in that State of Origin team.
Couldn't agree more, mate. Couldn't agree more. Who have you got next, boys?
Well, we're not going to pick Hodjo because we can do that right at the end.
Yep.
So
Thanks, mate. Thanks for rubbing it in.
This one's an easy one for me. The big truck on the wing, Taniela Tuiaki. I think he was clearly our best winger of all time. I know he only played 4 years. I think it was 06 to 09. In 09, he had 21 tries before that career-ending injury against Parramatta at the football stadium. So he would be perfectly suited to any era. An extra forward. He was a great finisher. Obviously a bulldozer. So big TNT on our wing.
What's your favourite moment for the Tank in his career? Or
Gee, there were so many. Gosh.
Who was it at Campbelltown that he ran over?
Yeah,
It was on the right wing against. He was on the left wing. It was against
Left
the
wing,
Gold Coast
yeah.
right winger. I can't think of his name. Was it the guy that? Who's the guy that did that unbelievable half volley pickup? Was that him?
David Mead.
Was it David Mead? Maybe I don't know.
Let us know in the comments if you remember.
but his background was
Gordon?
Rugby.
Did Tuiaki come from rugby?
Yeah,
really unheralded, playing for
Played in the back
Waikato
row.
or something.
Yeah, played in the back row in rugby.
Jonah Lomu.
Yeah, unbelievable.
That was a
So,
tragedy what happened that night
Yeah.
as well. And obviously we lost both wingers that night for a period, and we had to put Josh Morris in the centres and John
still-
Morris, I should say.
Still nearly won that game.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about the Tank is Sheen's put him onto the wing to kind of just get him into the side somewhere. The intention always was that he would move into the forwards, but he made such a great job of that wing position and was so hard to bring down and wasn't slow for a big man that he just made that position his own. And we picked him first because I think he's the best winger we've had.
Where do you want to go next, mate? I'll let you have a pick.
I was going to say the same to you because
Well, I'm happy to pick, but I mean, do you want to take your hooker, or do you want like?
well now, yeah, I think Robbie.
Yeah, you want to take Robbie?
Yeah, we'll go. Robbie.
Okay, well, we'll take Robbie for obvious reasons. I mean, he's arguably been the best player we've ever had, or at least the person that has loved the club the most. How he got treated in that Jason Taylor, Rod Reddy era was absolutely disgusting. I feel sorry for what he's gone through now. I mean, I know everything's sort of on the quiet, but it seems like he was tapped on the shoulder and not given any other role in the club, which, given the way he came back in 2018 and then retired at the end of 2019, we kind of mended a lot of the ill feeling that we had, like the club did towards him. And I just kind of think that's just gone unraveled again. And that's probably left a little bit of a bitter taste in his mouth.
He's my favourite Tiger of all time, Robbie. Like, it just, you could tell watching him at Leichhardt Oval walking off after a loss, he wore losses really hard. And that was probably something that cost him in the end, like relationships with coaches or even players, because a lot of guys used to say, mate, he wouldn't speak to us till Wednesday after a loss.
Did you ever, like, I went to fan days after games we'd lost, and everyone else, they're chatting, mate, you couldn't get a word out of him because he was still burning the next day.
So I love that. I love that competitiveness. Yeah. Like, if you're a good loser, I think you're a loser. Like, I love that sort of attitude.
But you can see why coaching probably didn't suit him, because he just, like, his personality was just almost just all in on winning. If he didn't win, it's just, I'm not talking to anyone for 48 hours.
Yeah, fair.
Like fans.
I've heard of a moment with Robbie where he got into a bit of a fight with someone in a scrum. Can you tell me more about that?
What's famous one? YouTube. Look it up.
Yeah. You can look it up.
So,
it's just all.
What's had a crack at him in an earlier scrum, and the next scrum packs down, and you got to watch it on YouTube. Robbie just gave it to him, probably hit him about 25 times.
Yeah.
And Watts got sin binned after it.
Oh, really?
And
we
they both got sin binned. And as he comes off the field, he copped a hiding. now we don't promote that anymore. But man, was it good?
Do you remember when Robbie?
It was 2008 or 9, I reckon.
Okay.
I'm going to say 8.
I
Yeah.
thought it was a bit later, but
I'll have to check it out.
Robbie on our show, you might remember when we chatted to him, we asked him about it.
It's the most asked thing.
He said, I remember him saying Anthony Watts is not the sharpest tool in the shed. It was a quote.
Did Anthony Watts not end up having a boxing career afterwards or something? Did he have a couple of fights? He might have. Yeah, I thought he did.
Another redhead. He might have had a fiery redhead.
You can have too many redheads in your team.
Is it our pick?
So like, no homers club.
Whose pick was that? Was that ours?
That was yours.
Yeah, we just took Robbie. Yeah.
Yeah, we just took Robbie. Okay.
We're thinking out of the box a little bit here, and we're picking a guy out of position, but how he would actually play in the modern game, and we're going with lock, and we're taking North Queensland's coach at the moment, who we're taking Toddy Payton as our lock.
Yeah.
I think he has all the attributes to play as a modern day lock. A great ball player. He's a threat running the ball, and Toddy Payton gets the lock position for us.
As check his spelling, he's Payton, I think.
It is.
It's Payton, isn't it?
Payton?
It's Payton.
Really?
Yeah,
Payton, yeah.
You're thinking of Payton.
T-A-N.
Am I? Okay.
He was the old halfback in the front rower's body. He was one of the first ones.
Yeah. So skillful.
Awesome ball player, but probably weighed 115 kilos or so.
What if he was paying last try scorer in the grand final?
Yeah.
What was he paying?
I was only 17, so I couldn't. Back then, so.
Where are we going next, mate?
50s,
Where do you want to go next? I mean, I've got controversial picks in my head. You might not like them.
I know it's hard because you don't want to say them to give away.
Yeah, I know.
Ideas. What are you thinking?
Can I whisper it in your ear?
Yeah. Okay.
Need a bit of paper or something.
Yeah, look at the pillow talk over there.
We need a strike prop. I mean, what he did in 2010 was incredible, and he would definitely excel in the modern game. He probably, I'm giving it away here, but he probably should have got the Clive Churchill if he didn't have a certain message on his forearm. I'm gonna name Andrew Fafita. We need a bit of strike in our scrum. So I know
not even on our depth chart, mate.
Shouts,
you forgot about him? Okay, well, if you'd have forgotten about him, we could have left him till later then. What was that? Sorry,
I said shouts the King Come Colts. That's where he's playing now.
And it was actually absolutely a tragedy that he was on the outer with Tim Sheens in 2011, and we were playing Matt Grote, and I loved Mark Flanagan in the back row, but it was totally different type of players. All right.
So it's our pick again.
It is your pick again.
All right, we're going to pick a back rower / lock. Again, one club player. We did send him to England for 1 year, Liam Fulton. So I think he played about 170 or 180 games. He would actually be way more suited to the way the game is played now. Sort of like that Kurt Mann, smaller, tough, great little ball player. But I feel like almost the era he played, it was dominated by the wrestle a little bit and defensive sides. And after we won that 05 grand final, that really kicked in. And I thought he struggled at times in our colours. But I think the way, if this game was played tomorrow and he was, at the peak of his career, Liam Fulton in the back.
See, that's interesting for me.
Henry's.
That's interesting for me because I feel, given the makeup of your team, that you would have gone Liam Fulton as a lock. As a guy, don't get me wrong, Todd Payton's the perfect choice, but I feel like in the modern day, Liam Fulton could have been an Isaiah Yo.
Yeah, no,
he could pick his time and when to pass, when to hold the ball. So I kind of think in the modern game he's more like a lock. So it's interesting you've got him as an edge back rower there.
To be honest, he was our second choice as lock as well.
Okay.
So if you guys had picked up Payton somewhere else,
Yep.
Liam Fulton's got that lock spot.
Okay, fair enough. Where do we want to go next,
Really
mate?
put the thought and effort into.
Yeah, we're up
this
at
one,
4 in
eh?
the morning planning this. We're nothing
I
better.
guess we're to go somewhere they're not filling in.
Oh, I know. Well, I got 7 in mind, so we can leave that. They don't have to pick that.
Well, they've
person.
already picked their halves, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. Do we have a lock that we could lock in?
Look, there's obviously Ben Galea from the 2005 era. Like, probably didn't see as much as what you'd want on the field, but in terms of the spirit and the culture he created in the club, he was very heavy. I have got a player, but I don't want to give it away. Can we go to another position, perhaps? You want to go?
Can we pick Appy in the halves?
No. No. We
Just
go.
so they don't have it.
No, but we don't want to give away our halves position. Can you just scroll up? Who have we got there? It's like what
We've
other?
got Tedesco at fullback, Fadawira in the centre.
So we only got a few positions left.
Benji. So we need a winger. We haven't got a winger yet. So we need wingers, centre,
Okay.
half, prop, back row, lock.
All right. Well, let's get. Given our team, we need a really good goal kicker with a bit of height. Why don't we go Paddy Richards?
Yeah, good pick.
Okay.
Just style our pick then.
Did we? Okay, good stuff.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
You haven't updated it on the screen.
So, I mean,
there, Josh,
he's
as well.
obviously,
It takes a while for Canberra to.
you'd know this, obviously, Eddie was a great cricketer as well. He had great hands.
Paddy Richards.
Paddy
Yeah,
Richards.
I think he might have even played first grade cricket when he was 17 for either Parramatta or Fairfield. And it's a shame that, like, the best 10 years of his career were probably in England. Like, he played for us 04, 05 and then came back 14, 15 and spent 10 years just dominating in the Super League. It must have been a bit more money.
Remember that
in the
field
Super
goal
League
from
then.
the sideline?
Yeah, incredible.
40 metres out on
ridiculous.
the sideline.
And even like the way the rules are now with the short dropouts, he'd be an absolute
imagine
weapon. Like
He used to put the ball.
he used to cheat a bit. He used to have
Those
the wickets
kickoffs.
cut
and
off.
kick it so it'd spin.
Yeah, so
He was a
it'd
freak.
Spin backwards,
be-
and it'd
He'd have your
actually
kickoffs
curl
covered. He'd have your long
boomerang
goal line
I did
dropouts
see.
covered.
I follow him on Instagram. I saw he's got a son that's about 7 or 8. He might be in the
Playing
pathways.
cricket,
Yeah, he's in our
playing cricket as
MacArthur.
well.
Yeah, so hopefully the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, no, he was a great player.
I'll tell you guys one of my favourite Pat Richards moments. Well, actually, I've got two.
So it'd be second Pat Richards era that you would remember.
Yeah, he done,
remember?
the second
Yes,
one.
yeah, this is-
Probably Easter Monday, one
This
of
is
them,
fairly late. Yeah, the Easter Monday
Yeah.
kick in for Tedesco's
Yeah.
try was
which was a
something.
shank. Yeah.
I mean, he still managed to stay in.
He did.
Yeah.
And then there was a game against the Warriors at Campbelltown where we absolutely creamed them. He got up and immediately awarded himself the try.
You know what amazes me the most? Like, we win the comp in 2005. We're declared as being well and truly inside the salary cap. Why couldn't we afford to keep him? Like, he could goal kick. Not that we knew he could goal kick back then. He could play centre or wing. It's just amazing that we actually never tried hard to keep him. Look at the career he had in
We
England.
did make 4 big signings in 06. I think it was Galloway, Sam Harris, Ryan O'Hara.
Yeah, one of them was only really good.
None of them
the
really
other
worked
two
out.
absolute
Galloway.
duds.
But yeah, I reckon Wigan must have offered him double or something because the money was big back then in Super League.
Super League, they were shelling out lots of money for NRL players at that point in time. And I think the money was just too good.
Yeah, okay.
Are we up?
Yeah.
It's our pick. So I'll be honest, you took our pick there, Paddy.
Okay.
So we're going to go fill our forward pack, fill our back row. Chrissy Hyington. We spoke about Paul Fadawira before. winning 2 premierships. Chris Hyington, 2 premierships, 1 at the Sharks, obviously 1 at the Tigers. I think he played over 200 games for us. Pretty versatile. Had that great final series in 05. I think he scored a try off the bench or something. So, given I think back row's not been our position where we have the most depth, to have Hino, Liam Fulton, and Todd Payton, Gary, I think we've done all right there.
Yeah, I'm very happy with Chris Hyington there. Workhorse of a player, strong defensively, really fit. Yeah, and back at the club now, which is always pleasing to see. So, Chris Hyington.
Shouts Terrigal Sharks. Do you guys know I think the listeners know my Chris Hyington story.
Go
Chris
for it, no, I haven't heard
Hyington
it.
bought my parents' house. So my bedroom was the granny flat out the back, and I painted it orange and black. So his face was on the wall in my bedroom when he came to inspect the house. And his wife apparently walked in.
I remember the story. It might have been 03 when he was sort of just breaking onto the scene, and there were bushfires up there, and he had to get the train or bus to training or something. and it was
Possibly, yeah.
something
This
like
was,
that. Yeah.
I think it was late in his career with us. It was before he went to the Sharks that he bought it. But yeah, my old bedroom's his gym now. Yeah.
The poster's still up there, apparently.
He's still there. He's still there. Yeah, I know his address. No, it wouldn't do that to him, obviously. No, he's got a great family. Shouts to Terrigal Sharks. He's always at Breakers Country Club. Shouts to Breakers.
Well, guys, our next choice is a little bit controversial as well. He didn't play very long with us, and unfortunately, he suffered a career-ending injury. We're going to name Simon Dwyer as our other second
He was
rower.
on our list.
The thing that annoys me the most about, obviously, the fact we missed out on a huge career, and I think he could have gone on to be anything. He definitely would have played. He would have played Origin in Australia for sure. Like, he was absolute freak of a player. But that hit he did on Jared Warrior-Hargraves in the 2010 semi-final against the Roosters, that should have been the greatest moment in our history. And unfortunately, we end up losing the game. I still see that to this day, and I kind of think, like, in a way, we were lucky. It could have been a penalty. Like, in any other era, it's probably a penalty to the Roosters. We got the ball, and then somehow we lose.
Right now, we would never play again.
No, exactly.
10 weeks
now.
Yeah, I mean, look, right now, if you wear our colours, you get penalised. So, but that was just one of the greatest moments, what he was able to achieve there, and the way he could hole run, he could offload. He was potentially going to be one of the greatest back rowers.
Reminded me a bit of young Luke O'Donnell. Just the build. He had the build where he could have you could see him becoming that Origin sort of Boyd Cordner or someone like that, where Ben Cray or one of those guys back in the day were just steamrolling guys.
I reckon he's another guy who would have had close to a decade playing Origin without that injury.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So we're
fantastic footballer, so much potential.
So we're starting to get our pack. Well, have you put him on out?
Yeah. It's just the bit of a delay on.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, guys, you guys have the next pick.
We're filling our second centre spot, Shane Elford, because he obviously, a bit like Paul Fadawira, only played, I think, 3 years for the club, but very, very solid when he played. I know he probably did most of his career out at the Panthers, but I feel like in filling this side, we've got a little bit of a lack of a depth in the centre position. So to have Chrissy Lawrence and next to him Shane Elford, a bit of height, a couple of bombs.
And he gets extra points because he got suspended as a trainer. Like, so great footballer. I think one of the most underrated West Tigers players we've ever had. Both our centres in 05 did a fantastic job, and a really strong defensive centre. And yeah, Shane Elford slots into our centre spot.
I don't know much about Shane Elford. So what sort of player would you say he was?
Modern day.
Look, I don't think he was as flash as what Paul Fadawira was. He wasn't real quick, but defensively sound. Was able to position his outside man really well. A bit of a no-frills centre, but playing in a side that had plenty of attacking power. He's the type of guy you need. He held up his edge really, really well.
Bit like Adam Dewey, Gary.
To those that don't watch the West Tigers podcast, Gary and Adam have had a love-hate relationship.
Not that fast.
I didn't say he runs backwards.
That's hard. It's harsh.
What are you thinking, Roberto?
Mate, I want to throw a spanner in the works and create some conversation for our listeners and viewers.
What position are you thinking?
We're picking a winger, okay? And in my opinion, and I'm going to really roll these boys up, we're going to have the best 2 wingers that this club ever had, okay, by naming this person. I'm picking Lottie Takiri. I think his 2010 was the best season of any winger that our club has ever had. He came back to our club at 29. I don't know how many tries he scored. I'm going to guess somewhere in the range of 15 to 18. There was just nothing. He was an absolute assassin. He was an absolute assassin. Tukiri. TUQ, sorry. Yeah. So for me, I think we've got that height and the catching ability and the finishing ability on both wings now. So I'm happy with Lottie Tukiri on our wing.
All right. Yeah, I like that pick. I was going to say we should go a winger because they need a winger still.
Well, that was the point. They're leaving Hodgson till last.
Yeah, we're gonna pick up our second prop now. And as I said earlier, you can't have too many redheads in your team, but you do need one. So we're going to go with Big Keefe Galloway.
That's a good pick.
Probably not the highest impact prop, but a guy that just got through plenty of work, played his best football at our club. A guy that debuted for Cronulla at like 17 in the front row. Fantastic football. And when we signed him, I remember that signing, and then we won the grand final. I thought, oh, our side's going to be better next year. And we missed the 8. So, but Keefe Galloway, fantastic footballer. Great career for the West Tigers.
Josh, I have 2 choices for centre, but I'm going to think out loud with you here. They've already filled their back row, so they can't pick this person. So I probably would have gone McCracken in the centres, but
wasn't he a back rower?
Hear me out. But he's played both. He played centre and back row. But given he could ball play and he was a hard runner or what have you, we can use McCracken at 13.
I was thinking Kevin McGuinness.
I was thinking Terry Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Hill played for New South Wales, played for Australia.
What was the Tiger? Did he play?
Sorry?
Yeah, he played his first. He played 2000 to 2003.
Yeah,
West Tigers. He's been a little bit of a
Was he a blue as a Tiger?
Maybe once, probably not.
So
more
we got Fatter. I mean,
wasn't he?
He was an out and out right centre. He had that great left hand fend. We've already got Fatter Weir on the left wing, so I reckon we go Terry Hill in our centres there. I think that sort of definitely our centres can match the centres that they've got. Although I will say I think Chris Lawrence is the best of the 4 centres.
Yeah. My memory is that as a Tiger, McGuinness was better, but I'm happy to go with Terry Hill.
All right. Doesn't really matter where you guys go now because we got 3 spots that you've already sort of taken. So we can go. We'll just go straight to number 9, Appy Coruscant. Clearly the second best hooker in the club. You got the best one. I'll give you that. But what he's done the last few years in a side that has struggled, I think has been a real credit to him. We've had a history, obviously, West Tigers of big name recruits coming over and underperforming, and he's been the complete opposite of that. So easy pick, Appy Coruscant.
Yeah.
Have you got a favourite Appy moment so far?
He's not much of a try scorer, but I mean, sorry, that one against South Sydney was incredible. That one where he a minute before half time,
absolutely.
Mitchell.
That was incredible.
Yeah,
and he was single-handedly nearly won that game.
In the second half as well.
We were terrible as a team that game, so I just think he's a war horse. He doesn't have that reputation, but he's real tough, still skillful, and hopefully plays a couple more years.
And I know we're not talking about what guys did at other clubs, but multiple premierships at multiple clubs and has made a difference at every single club he's played at. Can't be happier than having him as our number 9 at the moment.
I'll tell you my favourite Appy moment so far. Manly at Leichhardt last year, the try where he just points at Jake Trbojevic, like you're offside, runs straight through him and scores under, like next to the posts. Great.
Well, Josh, we're not competing with anyone anymore, as they said. So I think we'll just go to our halfback, and I think these guys formed a fantastic combination in 2010 and 2011. And you have to, mate.
Which half are you talking about?
Robert Louis. You have to name Robert Louis. Like, mate, we're talking what they do on the field.
Stomach, isn't it? He was on our list.
Guys,
don't use that terminology.
No. Let's talk about. Let's just keep it football and keep it clean.
Yeah.
And, everyone makes mistakes in life.
Field as well.
No. Gee, we've really got a bad run with halfbacks, don't we?
We go Molson.
No.
I think you should go Molson.
No, I'm not going.
I'd be happy with that selection.
Well, listen, we're going to go back to 2010.
Brooksy got a halfback of the year. Brooks Highland.
We're going with Louis. We want to beat these guys. We're going with Louis. So back to what I was saying.
It's also a voting contest too. Do you think?
I think if you take Brooks, you're
You can't take
Probably
anyone
not a
after
good
Scott
year.
Prince. Once you've got Scott Prince, anything after that you can't beat. But Louis was in the 2010-11 teams that we made the semi-finals in both our losses, in both the Roosters loss in 2010 and in the 2011 loss against the Warriors and the Kiwis, also New Zealand Warriors, whatever you want to call them. He was our best player. He was absolutely our best player on the field in both games. He used to interchange with Benji in terms of those backline shifts where Toddy Pate would get the ball and they do those unbelievably beautiful synchronized backline movements. I don't think we lose anything there because they've formed a combination. Unlike the boys' combination, like Scotty Prince and Jerome Luai don't know each other. Benji and Louis played for a couple of years together and they were extremely successful together. So we'll have Robert Louis at number 7.
I will say, like, just football point of view, his 2 full seasons for 2 years we made the top 4, Robert Louis. So, I mean, terrible what he did on that field.
And that epic game that we lost against Parramatta in 2009, I think if Louis doesn't get injured and Taniela doesn't get injured, we probably play finals in 2009. So, like, we copped some really key injuries that night against Parramatta, besides losing the game, which hurt. But, yeah, we were absolutely decimated after that game and we never recovered.
Riff's not happy with you, Rob.
Riff's never had that. Tell him I'll shout out Edmondson if he goes at me.
Look, I'm only going to talk about his football. I'm not going to talk about anything else.
Of course, that's what we're doing.
I don't think it's surprising that Benji Marshall's 3 best seasons, 05 when he had Scott Prince playing next to him, and 2010 and 2011 when he had Robert Louis.
Genuine halves.
Proper halves, guys who could get the team around the paddock, who were dangerous running the ball themselves. He had a great step. He also had a really nice kicking game. Terrible person, but a good footballer.
Hey, your pick.
Fullback or winger?
Where do you want to go, Gary? It's your turn.
We'll go wing. Another guy who hasn't been at the club long. We're going to go to Taruva on our wing.
That's a good pick.
I think at the moment is probably the best finisher in the competition through contact. If you give him all that cover defense, I don't think I've seen a situation this year where he's had a bit of space down that right-hand side when Toa's made him that space, that he's been put into touch. The cover defense gets to him, but his ability to beat that cover defense coming back inside is close to the best I've seen.
And even his yardage coming out of our own end, he lands on his stomach, gets a quick play the ball. No, he's brilliant. But I am happy that you've picked him because given our side and Josh and I being co-coaches, we will be directing all our bombs at both your short wingers and our wingers are going to be jumping over the top of you.
You won't get downfield.
So, Rob Jr., you're slagging my team. We're going to win this.
Who have you got a prop? You're not consistently getting down into our half.
We'll be right. You wait till we'll pick one that you've probably forgotten about.
Because Andrew Fafita, while a good footballer,
Not going Scando?
I don't know. I want to go. I want to go the man that left us for the Gold Coast.
Touch,
Oh,
that
Lafranchi?
try against Para in round 2.
You played
I think
Origin? Yeah.
perfectly epitomises that, doesn't it?
yeah, that right foot step he has to come back inside and actually initiate contact to the defender coming across. Yeah, as I said, I best that I've seen in a long time through contact. TNT was good through contact as well, but a little bit different style.
I just love it. He's going to be my favourite Tiger of all time. You need an antagonizer, or you need a personality like that in every side, and you can tell opposition don't like him, and you can tell
So you need
The
floor and everything.
The big thing is,
I love him.
how good is our yardage going to be out of our end when you got TNT bringing the ball back and Taruva bringing the ball back? Mate, you guys are pinned in your own half.
Also, how
What's
good
going on
was
here?
box leg interview after
I
the
think
match?
Lottie
Brad
Vakiri
West?
what I
does
mean.
pretty good yardage out of his own end too.
He's an infectious personality, and even you got a bit of hate for that post against Galvin, but good on him.
All right, boys, you're about to name your fullback. I'm guessing he's not as good as Tedesco, but tell us who it is.
Is it our pick?
Is it our pick? Did you pick someone?
I thought it was your pick.
Didn't we not? Well, we picked Lafranchi
Yeah,
for our prop.
They didn't hear us.
You didn't hear us? Sorry, we picked Lafranchi, mate.
Their own conversation.
He was just like obviously he's not a Scott Prince loss, but he was just as big a loss for our pack. He got through a lot of work. He's one of those guys too that could find the try line, get underneath the defenders.
I was going to say, if you like a little try scorer, first try scorer from dummy half,
From
he used
dummy
to get
half,
in there
yeah.
and just burrow.
Got low, didn't he?
Yeah, no. I feel like I know Josh, you follow American sports. I feel like
I've never mentioned on the show.
Andy
though.
Reid or something here. We're getting the best fullback in the West Tigers history with the last pick of the draft. So this is unbelievable. Getting Brett Hodgson, premiership winner. I think he's got 300 points in 2005, 30 points in a game. Absolute warrior of a player, champion player. Back on the
Okay.
coaching staff. Not disloyal like James Tedesco. So Hodjo, welcome to the side.
I like how one team ends with the fullback, the other team ends with the lock.
But,
So got
but I
one
do
on
have
one
to
side,
say,
13 on
like,
the other.
getting Hodjo at the last pick in this draft, that's a Tom Brady like pickup. Like seriously,
Mr. Irrelevant.
Tom Brady pickup there. Well
Yeah,
done.
that's Brock Purdy. More like Brock Purdy there. Well, look, obviously, are you happy to go with McCracken at lock? I mean, there's a few choices.
I feel bad for leaving my man Darren Center off.
At the lock?
He played lock for a bit.
Yeah, see, the way I look, we're not going from 14 to 17, but given McCracken can play second row on an edge or filling in the centres, I think McCracken would have been a great
Phil
lock
McCracken.
forward for us. Yeah, Jared McCracken.
But his real name's Phil. Phil McCracken.
12th man days.
Riffle
Yeah,
it up.
12th man day. So I think we've named two pretty decent teams. Like considering I thought we were only going to do one team tonight.
I thought that was an awesome segment, boys.
Maybe
I really
Spell
enjoyed
check
that
me,
sort of
Haz,
stuff.
before I posted it on the internet. Make sure
Yeah,
everyone-
I'll spell check you the ones
Forgot
you've
how
got
many-
wrong.
So where are the holes in our team, boys? Like give us you're playing us now with
There's
your
only
team.
one U in Takiri, I think, and it's the only one that's there is the one before the U, not after the U. I think it goes QI.
Okay. TUQIRO. So there's no U after Q in Takiri.
I really think we've got you covered. I really do. Like I'm not being
Let the fans
biased.
vote. Let the fans vote.
I think our pack
technology
matches yours. I think our halves can match yours. I think our 3/4 line's good, and we got the best fullback
So-
the club's
seems-
ever had.
Seems we haven't picked a bench. You're in trouble because Andrew Fafita's not playing 80 minutes.
What about doing 7?
Royce Fafita.
He doesn't need to. He doesn't need. Some of the things he was doing in 2010 were unbelievable.
Frankie is double F.
It is double F.
To think that when we got rid of Bryce Gibbs, we had to offer them
I
Andrew
did think so.
Fafita, and then he goes on to be the
Unbelievable.
best player in the 2016 grand final, although he didn't get the man of the match.
Let us know in the comments what you reckon.
Do we get our one spectator to cast his vote too?
It's a home game for you guys. He has to vote for you guys.
No, I think he likes the WTP team, don't you, Brandon? What do you reckon?
He was nodding a lot of selections on both sides. So
He's sitting on the fence.
It's nice to know that we actually had like a lot of bloody good players. We really, and there's plenty we left out.
Yeah, over 25
Yes.
years, we've had 2 good teams. It's
so since we're not doing a
Josh, that's
17
awful. We've had 3.
because you do a third team.
We've had 3 finals in
Like, who are
25
the
years.
best players that we've missed?
Yeah, like who
Darren
would
Center,
you put on the
shout out.
bench if
Oh,
you
there-
were adding a bench?
Darren
From the
Let me have
from
Darren Center.
Darren Center, John Scandalis, Mark
Scando.
O'Neill, Ben
Look,
Galea.
Bryce Gibbs, I think.
Yeah, Bryce Gibbs, of course.
Aaron Woods.
We've covered.
Ooh.
Well, look, he made it representatively, but
His career at the West Tigers was a really
know
strong
him.
career. Yeah,
Yeah, he
Aaron
was
Wood,
good.
I-
Yeah.
yeah, Aaron Woods. I mean, I don't think we've really missed anyone in the halves. I think the halves are. We didn't really
Frank
have
Hill.
strong halves. I mean, look, he didn't play his best with us, but you could have thrown a Mitch Moses in at 5'8" or halfback if you got stuck for a pick.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Even though he did tank games near the end of his Tigers
Kim's
career.
picking the WTP boys.
Centers and wingers, I think we've pretty much got that covered. I don't think we've
Yeah.
left.
We had
anyone out.
a depth chart, and you boys, we basically 4 or 5 picks for each position, and I can't see many. Ben Galea's one we left
Yeah,
out.
Ben
Yeah.
Galea, I
Don
think,
Scandalis,
is
probably the
hard,
main ones.
is
Yeah.
a hard one. He was a very underrated footballer.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen him get in there somewhere.
Well, I got to say, Eddie, I listened to one of your podcasts about 6 or 8 weeks ago, and you guys were going to do a best ever West Tigers team, and I kind of asked you, do you mind if we? And then Josh and Aaron came up with the draft
Draft's an
idea, which has
awesome
made
idea.
it so much more fun.
No one on a podcast has ever done a draft before.
Mate,
It's definitely
I've never
That's
seen
more
a draft.
American,
I
to
don't
be
watch
fair.
podcasts. I don't know.
American
I've never
stuff.
seen a draft done like this. It's fantastic.
Neither have I actually.
Really good fun.
Yeah,
I do like that comment about do up a dud team list.
Who
Like-
said Adam Blair?
yeah.
Someone said Adam
gosh, we
Blair.
could do, how can
That's-
like would you have
that's
Sam
Shane.
Harris there? Definitely.
Don't believe anything Shane. He thinks Kiss is the greatest rock band of all time. So don't believe what he says.
It's only for the makeup.
Matt Ballon, he's being sarcastic now.
Matt Ballon.
And we're not picking coaches, obviously, are we? Like, I mean, I look for my team. Like, given that there's only been 3 West Tigers winning coaches in history, I'm picking Adel Haj.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
Yeah,
guys,
I like
can have either Todd
You
Payton
you
or
took our
Tim
pick.
Sheens.
Yeah, we'll take Todd Payton.
You sure you don't want Jason Taylor?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah. Don't get me
Eddie
started.
loves
we could,
Jason Taylor.
Who's Warriors coach?
Andrew Webster.
Andrew Webster.
We could pick him too.
He was a coach of the Tigers for
6
6 games, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Did he win one? I don't think he did.
Yeah, he won his first one.
Nah,
No,
not
he
as
didn't.
not
Yeah,
as
he-
interim
really?
coach. I don't
North
think.
Queensland.
That was. Well, I thought Cleary was there by then.
No, I don't think
I
so.
thought he lost his
Oh,
games as interim coach.
It was. I think he only had 2 games. as
Yeah,
interim
two-
coach
two- and lost both of them.
Yeah, yeah.
I know
Yeah.
one of them was against the Dragons.
Mick Potter.
One was at Leichhardt. I remember that much.
Oh, Nick Bradley Qualawala. We didn't mention him.
Yeah, really good player.
Who was the guy
Very
that scored
underrated.
4 or 5 tries on the wing once at
Lowell.
Acor?
Keith Lua.
Keith
Yeah,
Lua. Keith Lua.
Ended up breaking his neck in a game.
Keith
Oh, really?
Lua.
Yeah.
Okay, that's no good.
Um,
Are we going to do Origin and weekend tips, or we haven't even done the preview yet, have we?
I just like just standing around naming names.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Jason
Do that
Moody?
for another hour.
Nikola Jokic.
Jason Moody, I once had as a second leg in the doubles, sitting at Cogra Oval in the pouring rain,
Having a smoke.
and we lost 52-0. Couldn't go home because
That-
I could win $100.
Is that the Roosters? Roosters game?
No, it was against St. George.
It's George. I'm trying to think what other great players. There's a lot. We haven't picked a lot of the early. We picked Terry Hill, like no McGuinness.
Even like
we picked
Matt
McCracken,
Sears, John
Matt
Upawade,
Sears,
all
Joel
them.
Payne.
Said Darren Santa.
Who else were the big money signings that we brought across? Craig Field.
You guys pick Kevin McGuinness or not?
I wanted to, but
Yeah,
I got
No, he gets-
overruled.
He gets
Overall.
second choice.
So to all the Magpies fans out there, send your hate mail to Roberto. Although Terry Hill played for the Magpies, didn't he?
He did.
He did.
It was
He was
like
a
Mark
Magpie.
O'Neill as well. I forgot about
Terry Hill's
Yeah.
the reason we don't have a draft in rugby league. We went to court over it.
Opawadi from Riff. That's
Yeah.
yeah. We're obviously not worrying about human
Tell
beings.
Riff to stick his finger, you know where.
All right. That was fun. I enjoyed
Very
that.
good fun.
What should we do? Our tips. As can you get the tips up? No player ratings. Might as well just bring the.
Do we
Slides
have the
down.
names of the team changes when we get to our game, or
I can bring them up.
you can bring them up? Yeah, just name. You don't have to name the teams. Just like say who's in and who's out, if there are any changes.
Well, we know that Jerome Luai has been named. I think he's next to no chance of playing. To get back from Perth, someone mentioned on Twitter today that Appy played in Adelaide and played on a Friday night for us.
I think it's unlikely he plays, but it's Jerome Luai. If anyone's going to make that trip and put the effort into back up, it's going to be a guy like Jerome Luai. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him play, but I don't expect him to.
Yeah, he'll want to, but 5 hours on the plane.
It's a long trip.
Yeah, when
Jeez.
your body's fatigued, 5 hours on a plane, that air pressure just
After those words, mate, I'm driving right to Campbelltown right now. You got me psyched up when you say that. Yeah, he would be the sort of player to do that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and our depth in the halves is really poor at the moment. Like we're starting Heath Mason on the weekend, so we need him to play. Like we're playing Canberra, and they're having a great season, but we need Jerome Luai to be any shot in that game. I think we are a chance. I was actually quite confident before Luai was picked for that Origin game. I thought
$3, $3.22.
I thought we could go down there and pull a bit of an ambush on Canberra, but Luai playing Origin probably put a dampener on that for me.
Well, if Luai plays and the Tigers win, Adele's going to shave his beard off. Can I get that commitment from you as
Not
well?
a chance.
Okay, fair
Have you
enough.
heard what he has to do with the Tiger?
Yeah, I've got to wear a
What would it
Collingwood
take-
jersey.
What would
and-
it take to shave the beard? A premiership?
You raise a couple $1,000, I'll take it off, but
All right.
There you go. Challenge.
a couple $1,000 that goes into my pocket, Eddie.
Too easy.
How long have
That's
you
the
had it?
charity.
I shaved it off the last time probably 7 or 8 years ago.
Oh, wow. That's,
Um,
God, mine would take 18 years to grow that.
Oh, I
back,
can
reckon.
well, I've had it short
Yeah.
since then. It takes me about 3 months to grow it this long, but since when are we doing like a hair? Like,
Mate, it takes me a
Visual
month to get a
podcast.
4-day
Visual,
growth.
Yeah, you're on the
Yeah.
the Dribbler podcast, West Tigers podcast. Now
The
We-
amount of tangents Josh goes
Yeah.
on.
What do we got, Aaron? Get
you
us
mentioned
back. Get us
American
back to
sports
the game.
before. You're lucky I sat on my hands.
Get us back to the ins and outs.
Righto. So
Who we
starting
missing?
with the Tigers team changes. So Fanua Pole returns after 3 games missing from that knee injury. That's meant Sione Fainu has reverted back to the bench. Alex Twal is back from his concussion, back in lock. Talon De Silva has also been added to the bench. Charlie Murray and Kit Laulii drop out. Luke Laulii also drops out as well.
Do you want to start, Eddie, with how you think the game's going to pan out, or how we should be playing against Canberra?
Yeah, they're the sort of side that they've had our number. Although, in saying that, we did beat them 48-24 at Campbelltown last year, and
could have been a lot more.
Yeah, they are the sort of side. They've had a lot of big occasions or big comebacks this year. So my only sort of hope is that it's a letdown spot for them, coming off a bye. They've just had Papali'i's 300th and a lot of big wins against good sides. Their record
heading to Campbelltown.
Their record at Campbelltown isn't great. They've actually, I think, won 7 of 17 there. So that's my only hope. I think they're a really powerful side. I think they're a genuine chance of winning the comp this year, Canberra. I think their outside backs are young and fast and powerful, and they've always had a good forward pack. So I'm worried about the game, but we're a puncher's chance.
It's interesting. You have a look at our bench, and I've seen a lot of comments this afternoon about that being quite a lightweight bench. I can actually see a strategy in that selection of that bench. They've got a really big forward pack. I think with that bench, we've got to be looking to move those forwards around. I see a lot of short passing between our forwards. Get those big Canberra forwards working, and then hit them hard with those smaller guys we got coming off the bench. So,
cold, greasy night at Campbelltown.
Yeah, so I can see a game plan you can go with to trouble them. It's whether if Jerome Luai's not there, I think we're in a fair bit of trouble. But if he is there, I think that strategy of really tiring out those forwards it could be something that could get us over the line against them.
Yeah. Aaron, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing for me with the Raiders as well this year is their habit of letting teams back into games if they're leading at halftime has sort of crept back in. Like, look at what happened in that game against the Dogs, where they looked to be absolutely on top of everything with about, what was it, like 5-10 minutes left in the first half, and then all of a sudden the Dogs get a little bit of a sniff just before halftime and then absolutely roll over the top of them in the second half. My thing with this game, I do really think that we need Jerome to play. I'm really glad to see Skelton back. He had a couple of errors in his first game, which is to be expected, I think, after being out for so long. But out of yardage, massive, like you just said, massive difference. And I think we were really missing that during the period of the last 3 or 4 games where we haven't really been able to find those meters out of our own end.
I think your point, Aaron, about Canberra falling away towards the back end of the games actually plays quite well into us. If you have a look at a lot of our games, we're finishing over the top of most sides. We finished over the top of Souths. We finished over the top of Penrith 2 weeks ago. We just didn't get either of those games. We didn't get there in the end. Cowboys, we finished over the top of them. Dolphins earlier in the season, we finished over the top of. I think we're a fairly fit team, and I think the longer the game has been going, there's a trend that we're getting better. Now, if they show up and they fall away after getting a bit of a lead, I think you'll see us coming to get them in that last 20 minutes. It's whether the trend has been for us is that it's been a little bit too little too late. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out on Friday night.
We've also just had our second bye in the space of 3 weeks, which has really helped freshen up the players after 11 straight games to start the season. Meanwhile, Canberra have only just had their first bye.
And interestingly, a lot of clubs use that bye to give the players a bit of time off. I would think, and from what I know, the fact that those 2 byes were so close together,
it was a bit of a working bye this time around.
Correct.
I think.
I don't think it was players going on holidays. I think there was a fair bit more work done around the club, which I think puts us in better stead, because Canberra, I think this is their first bye they've hit.
Yes,
so it was, I think their players would have shut down last week, where ours probably kept training.
Eddie, if Jerome Luai's out and Latu Fainu comes into the starting side, you don't think he's going to be out?
Sorry to jump in.
I think they won't let him play.
Yeah, if Latu was going to start, he's been selected over Heath Mason. We saw at the start of last year when he was coming back from hamstring issues early last year, they had him on a minutes restriction. The only reason I can see him being picked on the bench and Heath Mason being picked in the starting side is that he's on a minute restriction again. And
so who comes off the bench if he's out? Are you going Murray? Are you going Sukkar? Who comes onto the bench?
Ooh. Who's on the bench?
I mean, obviously we're speculating.
Sukkar is 18th man. You've also got, so the other reserves are Charlie Murray, Charlie Staines, Kit Laulii, and Isaac Tuitupo.
I put Kit kid onto that bench.
Mm.
The issue
He
is,
played well for Magpies.
the
last
issue is, I
round.
think if
He didn't
Jerome,
make a mistake against Penrith either.
the issue is, I think if Jerome doesn't play, that
He didn't play
AD goes
easily.
probably into the halves. Not that I want to see that, but I don't see Latu coming into that starting lineup.
Fair enough.
So changes for the Raiders real quick. There is only
Can we talk
one.
about Fanapole?
I mentioned Vanilla Polo
Yeah.
first.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so he's
Sorry.
But-
back
but
after
big
3
in.
games out.
Massive.
Big,
Massive
big
in.
return.
Twal as well, I
Both
think.
of them, they're both big ins because I know that forward pack. We did a good job against Penrith, but it was a real patchwork forward pack. And like I know Penrith have won 4 comps, but their forward pack's sort of missing some pieces this year.
Yeah.
Canberra's a step up their forward pack, so
Yeah.
I'm really glad Twal and Polo play.
So with the Raiders, there's only one change for them. Savelio Tamale is out with a knee injury. So son of Ricky Stewart, Jed makes his debut on the wing.
And hopefully
Hudson
Hudson
Young is
Young.
named to back up.
Yeah, hopefully Hudson Young doesn't back up.
Wasn't Jed one of the Billy Hillbillies?
Jed.
Here we go with a tangent again.
Jed's the dad.
The dad.
Yeah, Jed. Jethro's the
Yeah.
son. Yeah. Showing my age. Thank you.
Well, they remade a movie when I was a kid.
So you both tipping Canberra?
Gun to my head, yes.
Yeah. I think Canberra gets away with the win, but I think we're a lot better chance, as I said, if Jerome Luai gets on a plane and
Aaron?
gets back over here.
Canberra or Tigers?
I'm tipping Canberra as well. Just really quickly, looking at Canberra's bench, Owen Paddy, Simi Sasangi, Morgan Smithies, and Ata Mariota. How do you think that bench compares to ours?
Well, I'm a big fan of Owen Paddy. He can really play. He's a young hooker. I don't know much about some of the other guys you read out, but
Well, Sasagi scored a couple of
they're,
tries
they're
last
building
game
a
on the
good young.
wing.
They're building a good young side.
He looked like a winger. He was that good.
Righto, New South Wales Cup this weekend. As what I might get you to look up
Going to run through the other games or not?
for the tips.
Yeah. Or you
Should
don't
we
do
do?
that? No, we don't have to do the tips. If
I'll,
you want to do the
I'll
tips,
go through other grades.
Yeah,
quick
sure.
And we'll
Sure.
maybe we'll finish with the other games.
Yep.
New South Wales Cup, where they had a good win against Manly at Lidcombe, 32-10. They have the Dragons on at 1 p.m. on Saturday at the Collegians Sporting Complex in Wollongong, wherever that is. I assume Wollongong. We are coming 9th now. They're 5 and 8.
9 points in the last 5 weeks,
So
which includes a
Magpies-
bye.
How many teams make the finals in Cup?
I don't know if they've increased it back to 8 again.
Yeah.
Last I know,
Yeah.
last year it was 6. So
You think by
we
round 14,
probably have to
I
run
haven't
with
thought
6.
about it because they just have to be down the bottom. I don't
Yeah.
know. Flag are up to 7 because they smacked the Sea Eagles at the same day, 58-10, and they too are playing against the Dragons down in Wollongong. They're in 7th at the moment, 6 and 7. The Flag boys. They've got a few recruits playing that come up from SG Ball. Looks like they're rolling at the moment. So
A lot of talent in that SG ball
yeah.
side coming up through the grades now.
Will Craig, Jared Haywood, Socorro's there. So plenty to watch in that Flag side because a couple of stars of the future. Righto, we'll go to the other games.
NRLW trial this weekend as well.
Oh, yeah,
Sunday
sorry. I was going
over
to get you to look up that. The totally, because there was no team list or anything.
No, team list came out today.
It came out late this
There
afternoon.
wasn't
Yeah,
a
it came
team
out
list,
late this
okay.
afternoon.
Yeah.
As run us through, being our NRLW correspondent.
So we've named Jataya Faifua at fullback, Claudia Nielsen and Caitlin Turnbull on the wings, with Emily Bass and Tarina Tamaki in the centres. Starting halves, Faith Monera and Lozana Lutu. Tara Renke and Christian Pio front rowers, with Pihuka, Berriman and Duff at hooker. Captain Kezi in the second row with Montana Clifford, Jade Fanua at lock. And then the bench, because it's an extended bench with so many players getting basically unlimited interchanges. We've got Salma Noor, Jessica Reeves, Amelia Huaku, Luciana Luamanu Leotawa, Chelsea Seville, Lily Rogan, Evie McGrath, Iamaima Etuale, Tiana Lee Thorne, Teresa Leasusu, Rebecca Pollard, Talara Bamblett, and Alia Bulla.
Wow.
I think Adele and yourself, mate, created a big stir on Sunday night because
Quite potentially.
because
Lozana Lutu.
the number 7 was not going to be in that team 3 nights ago, and I think you guys caused a massive stir
Are we
internally.
holding someone back that should be there?
Looking at that off the top of my head, I can't think if there's anyone missing who should be there.
And when was the game? Sorry, Az?
Sunday, 1 o'clock at Leichhardt.
Are they playing with other NRL? Like, is it a double header or anything, or is this?
There's no NRL
We're
game
on
like
Friday.
that.
No, sorry. Are they? Is there
Other games, other lower grade
another
games.
NRLW? NRLW. Yeah.
There may also be a trial for Harvey Norman Premiership.
Okay.
I don't know about that though, so they could be doing that at the
Yeah.
same time potentially.
Lasana Latu, fantastic footballer.
Mm.
She's just about my favourite in that side. Footwork, great ball player. Yeah.
Well, what did Adele call it? The greatest female talent he's ever seen, basically.
He's
And
words to that
still
effect.
only a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah,
She's 20.
that's crazy. Because that Harvey Norman thing was 3 years ago.
Yeah. She was
Wow.
17.
Yeah.
She was 17.
Yeah, she's a freak. So fingers crossed.
I'll be trying to keep an eye out to see how this game goes, and hopeful to see some
Is it
from
being
the game.
broadcast? Is there a way to?
I don't know. I don't think the club has said anything about that, but I will keep an eye out and I will let you know so you can post something on the
Where you can
socials.
go? You're going to go on Sunday? The weather's meant to be pretty good.
I don't know if it's open to the crowd or if it's a
Of course
closed
it would be.
trial.
No, it won't be a closed trial.
It's well, you get a Leichhardt Oval, like
Jump the fence like
20
I
No, it's open all the time. It's a public
yeah, it's
space.
a public
now.
space. You walk your dog in there. Yeah, they're trying to get concerts there now as well.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
Announced that today.
Darcy Burns would. I mean, it makes sense. You want to use it as much as you can. They don't want to give upgrades if you never use it. So you could build new sheds and put a, I don't know, removable stage or something. Could have Airborne. Brockers. Our shouts to Brocker playing with Airborne over in Europe at the moment. Get them to play at Leichhardt Oval. That'd be pretty good. Patreon.com/WestsLife will record our bonus show after. And if you join as well, you now get, we do have a live stream for the Adele Sunday night show as well. I dropped that private stream in the Discord, which you get access to as well. And a few of the guys jump in, watched it live with Az and Adele on Sunday night. And there's a mosquito in the OG.
Joseph Alafaci in the YouTube comments there said
really?
Harmony Crichton is not listed in the team. And Joe, that is because Harmony is injured, probably out until about round 6.
Thanks, Joey.
The Riffman, even though we've given him
Big
bit
day
of shit
tomorrow.
grief, he's just sent us $20.
Big day for him tomorrow, mate. That's what do you call it? Karma for his Florida Panthers.
That's what he's paid us.
Good luck in game 6, mate. Good luck in game 6.
He's paid us $20 to mention it. And
Yeah.
You've done it for free there. great,
$20 worth of promo.
great show, lads.
I'm
Appreciate
giving
it.
him value for money.
Appreciate you all. Even Rob, go Florida Panthers, 10 a.m. tomorrow
There you
Oz
go.
time. What is it?
They're 3-2 up.
It's-
Best
yeah,
of 7
it's game
series.
six.
So there's,
And they're
Ice
playing at
hockey,
home.
is it?
On,
Yeah.
ice
on
hockey,
their home
NHL.
deck too. So they've got a chance to go back to back on their home deck.
And if they lose, they're going to Edmonton game 7.
Yeah,
okay.
spicy.
All right. Good luck.
Let's get to the rest of the
they
round.
won
Come on,
last week.
boys.
In
the home stretch.
Tips. Yep. Tips the other games.
All
Also-
right. So Warriors, Panthers, Go Media Stadium, Saturday afternoon.
None of the Panthers players will play Origin play, so Warriors.
None of them have been
absolute
named.
morals.
Yeah.
Absolute morals.
Yeah. Was.
Wasp
I'm
as
going
well.
to say Warriors just. I looked at the Panthers team, and even with all those outs,
St. Laurie is in.
yeah, look at the forward pack. They got
Eddie's
some-
favourite player outside of John Bateman.
Warriors by plenty.
Yeah, I think the Warriors will get him.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. There's too many.
Yeah, I'll go Warriors just. I don't think it's going to be easy. Penrith are desperate.
And Penrith to turn a corner. Their football over the last couple of weeks has been a lot better. I think the losses to their forward pack have hurt them a lot this year, and they're just starting to get over that now.
Who's next on the what next game? Have we got?
Dolphins and Knights, HBF Park in Perth.
Oh, it's in Perth.
Quick stats, man, for you. Dolphins in their last 3 games, 158 points.
Yeah.
And I
Last 2
think they've
games,
only
20
conceded
tries.
18.
Last 2 games,
Their
they've scored 20
best
tries.
is awesome. The
They're
Dolphins.
freakishly good.
They've beaten the Storm 40, the Bulldogs 40.
And we beat them.
They're worth a nibble.
And they
That's
just
a
beat the Cowboys by
Yeah.
54.
The Hammers over in Perth already, so that'll be an advantage for them. So I think
Of course.
they'll flog
But so
Newcastle.
will Ponga.
Kill Newcastle.
Good idea playing in Perth after the Origin.
Yeah, 3 days later.
Yeah. 'Cause
Ponga doesn't have to go very far.
Well, if you're a Dolphins or a
Ponga as well.
Knights, if you're a Dolphins or a Knights fan, you could go to the Origin, stay there for a few nights, and then go watch your team play. Well, Good idea.
Yeah, Dolphins for me, but that Knights side, actually, the back line looks good again. Bradman Bestie's back in. If Ponga backs up, Fletcher Sharp's back at 6.
Mm.
The Dolphins' young half is having a fantastic
Yeah,
season.
he's fantastic.
He's been named to captain them as well.
Being in, I guess, yeah, the players that are playing Origin too can just.
Yeah, they just hang around there.
Yeah. So Hammer will play, obviously.
All right, Rabbits, Storm, Accor Stadium, Saturday night.
Rabbits are just getting hammered by injuries.
They really
They
are.
lost Kalamatangi and I think
Walker.
one or two others on the weekend. So Cody
In
Walker's
saying Kaloamatangi, he's been named in the reserves for some silly reason.
fractured eye socket apparently. So
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they said 3 weeks.
Storm have been ordinary away from home, but I think they'll
Storm have been ordinary at night.
scratch out a win. I reckon.
Is it a day game or a night?
It's a night game, 7:35 Saturday night.
There'll be about
Yeah,
16
Storm by
people
plenty
there.
for me, Gary.
Yeah, it's Storm.
Storm for me as well.
Yeah, Storm.
A very rare chance to see the Broncos playing in sunlight. Broncos, Sharks, Suncorp Stadium, 2:00 Sunday Arvo.
Broncos at home for me.
Very tough game for me, like trying to pick it. I've gone Broncos, but I only did that because I was disgusted with Cronulla last week. I know they beat St.
That's
George.
terrible.
They were terrible. They just looked like they wanted to play when they only had the ball. When it
First
came to
half was
defence,
awful.
they just showed no resilience. They're going to need to fix that because they've just gone off the boil.
This game could be anything, though. Both these
True.
sides have been very up and down all season. They really struggled to put 2 games back to back. So I'll go the Broncos, but it's not with any confidence because you just don't know which team for either of them is going to turn up.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, I'll go Cronulla. I don't trust either team, but maybe less affected by Origin backups. I'll go Sharks.
With these two teams being in 7th and 5th, the winner of this one gives himself a nice little buffer inside the top 8 as well. So mid-season Origin period, players potentially backing up for the Broncos in particular. Crucial game for both sides in that regard.
Who have you got, Aaron?
I'm going Broncos, but not with a whole lot of confidence.
Yep.
All right, next one, Roosters, Cowboys, Allianz Stadium, Sunday Arvo, 4:00.
Oh, just Roosters.
Yeah,
Roosters at home,
The
yeah.
news coming out of the Cowboys today that they're looking towards Josh Hannay to replace Todd Payton. I think that's going to be unsettling for them. So I think the Roosters will get that one easily.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that Todd Payton does get fired. I love him, but I think he will one day work for the West Tigers, Todd Payton. Not
I
saying
hope so.
I want Benji replaced, but maybe
Head coach or
assistant
assistant
coach?
coach? Yeah.
Assistant coach to Benji.
Yeah.
Roosters will win it.
We've spoken a lot about Todd Payton and we've spoken a lot about Benji Marshall and his habit of selecting guys who are his mates as assistant coaches.
Yeah, that's probably the best one.
This is
Yeah.
an exception to the rule. If Todd Payton becomes available and doesn't pick up a head coaching role, we need to get him out of our club.
I
as
agree
quick as we can.
totally. Yep, 100%.
So we've got a super chat from Mark Davis. He says, I'm not as wealthy as Riff Raff, and we'll not who is.
Should have just paid us in Italian lira.
In fact, can you split it with Eddie and Gary? Great show, boys. Up the Tigers. New Zealand Tiger in Australia. Good on you, Mark. And he's a Buffalo
Thanks, Mark.
Bills fan too.
Oh, good man.
Go Cincy.
That's who he goes for.
Yes.
Go Burrow all the way.
I'm expecting a bit of a Cowboys bounce back in this game, but I don't think it's going to be enough to topple the Roosters.
He's a tragic poor
I
bugger.
was going to do the old Raiders.
My rival on the Broncos. So, yeah.
Bring on, I think it was Monday Night Football, one of those weeks.
You really had some lean years, Eddie, haven't you, with your supporting of teams? You could not have picked a
The
worse.
Broncos only broke their finals drought of like 8 years.
Don't ask
this
me.
year? Yeah, 2015.
I haven't been in that long.
Since,
won
no,
the
it wasn't
Super
Super Bowl. You made the finals when what's his name? The
They haven't made.
no, you won a
since the
playoff.
Super Bowl.
You won a playoff game with what's the guy that was the
Peyton
religious guy? The religious guy, the
That was
quarterback.
pre-Peyton
Tim
Manning.
Tebow.
Was that pre-Peyton
Yeah,
Manning?
yeah.
No
Tebow.
way.
Tebow's pre-Manning.
Yeah.
Really?
Manning. Yeah, yeah.
Gosh, I thought that was after.
No,
Tebow mania.
Yeah,
We haven't made a playoff since
the guy that
Peyton-
caught the
since Peyton.
touchdown in that playoff, he passed away too last year.
2 years ago. Demarius Thomas.
Demarius Thomas, yeah.
Number
Did everyone
88.
give their tip for that game?
Broncos
Roosters.
game.
Roosters. I think we all went Roosters.
Or going Roosters?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chooks at home.
And finally, a bottom of the table blockbuster to finish the round, 16th versus 17th, Eels Titans at Combank.
These are the games that he likes.
Mm-hmm.
He's all over these games.
I wish they
Spoon
both
bowl.
could lose.
One.
No Mitchell Moses, but the Gold Coast, how can you trust them? I actually think Rolls has got Para going all right. I'll tip Para by 1.
Titans are a very reasonably
It's a
narrow
team
favourite
race.
here.
Gary?
Yeah, I'm going Para, but I think it's the last game they win until Moses comes back.
Yeah, I'm
I
actually
think
going
they're in trouble.
Titans. I think Titans get them.
I'm pretty sure these two teams play each other later in the season on the Goldie as well. So I feel like it could be one of those where they split the series.
You shake your head, Eddie, like you're the NRL CEO. Like it's just bad for our product.
Scared of lower
Yeah.
teams getting wins at the moment.
Eddie
Yeah.
just
Scared.
the only games Eddie really talks about are the lower teams because he's just paranoid that we're in a spoon race with them.
So you were devastated when Gold Coast beat Manly. then.
I was furious.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
That was the only tip I got wrong last
I'm
weekend.
hoping always hoping the Raiders will win every game, apart from obviously this week. But
Eddie only looks in the rearview mirror.
no,
doesn't look forward.
I get that. I get that.
Scarred.
Titans for me, but only just.
Josh,
Yeah, I don't know.
can you put the deciding vote for us?
I'm trying to think of my son. My son's coming second in our family tipping comp, and he got 5 out of 5 last week. I'm trying to think who he tipped.
He tipped the Titans.
No, I'm trying to think who he did.
Yeah, he
he
must-
tipped
he
the
tipped
Tigers
the
by
Tigers last
18
week.
this week, and he got
18.
Yeah, you reckon?
I like his confidence.
I'll
Yeah.
take 1.8. Let alone 18.
I need to say the team list, but I'll say no Moses makes me, in my algorithm, in my head, no Moses means tip the other team. I'll go Titans.
So their halves, they've gone Joash Papali'i in 6 with Dean Hawkins at 7 because Dylan Brown is also out.
I'm switching to the Titans.
I think Eddie's about to as well. No.
All right, that's
us done.
that's
7
us
games.
done.
Yeah.
seven games. Yeah, does it for the show. If we haven't missed anything, talked to girls, we talked about the girls, we talked about the flag, did everything. Boys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope
You've been
everyone
amazing
enjoyed that.
guests, guys. If you got to see what West Tigers podcast like, guys, we've got the cream of the crop here. So listen to them. They put out 2 shows a week. You're doing one tonight with the other boys. Are the other boys
I
doing?
think maybe before Origin, Joel might host one tomorrow.
Okay, so there might be one tomorrow
It's
night.
like tonight. It's 10,
Keep an eye out for
10:36.
them. We're going to try and do a lot more cross collabs for the rest of the year and mix it up a little bit and have different hosts and compares and what have you. But I really appreciate the boys coming on. It's been a fun show.
Absolutely.
I hope you guys
pleasure. I really
enjoyed it.
enjoyed it, boys. Awesome.
Good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
Check
you.
out the socials, give a vote.
You might have to put the 2 teams up on the socials and let people vote. Let's create a bit of discussion.
Yeah, put up a poll.
Don't put which pod put it up. Just put which team do you
That's
prefer.
exactly what we're going
Yeah,
to do.
and put it on TikTok as well. Then you'll go from 1,000 to 1,005 followers.
You'll share
we
it.
need to get you on the TikTok, get you in front of it explaining our team or something. We'll think of something.
I'll just get our
Because
coach
your
Adele to
team
do it.
does need an explanation. Our speaks for itself.
Yeah, we'll just blame you. You got the pick before us.
Blame yourself for not getting the trivia right.
Yeah, exactly.
The trivia was fun. There might be something.
Yeah, we might have to run
do
with
in
a
the future
few
as
more
well.
fun
Let
questions.
us know, guys, in the feedback. In the socials and the comments.
Oh yeah, what about a
you
quick
thought.
Origin prediction for tomorrow?
I don't want to predict that.
Blues.
That's so close.
Jerome Luai field goal to win.
Oh, I hope you're right.
I think New South Wales could pick 3 teams that beat that Queensland side.
Yeah.
It's going to be wet over there, so I'm worried that Queensland are going to win the penalty count about 10-1.
Nah.
They'll want to
We're such a
decide
bad
us.
team.
They will want to decide. That's what bothers me.
yeah, the
yeah.
refereeing.
But if it is wet, I think that suits our pack more.
And I think Slater's comments today, while I understand them, I think it shows he's feeling the pressure.
Yeah, we
a
didn't even
little
talk
bit.
about that, did we?
So I
Well,
think,
it's not really West Tigers
Yeah.
related.
so I
but
think he's feeling the pressure, and if that transfers to the team going into that game tomorrow night, I think New South Wales will win quite.
And Munster having to dig the Blues were running 10 minutes late for the presser. So
I think
yeah.
Slater's comments were genuine, but at the same time, he's not a silly boy. He knows how much that will rev his team up, and especially the depths of where he went to at the end of that little 206-word rant, as someone put it today.
Riff saying we needed a shot clock on the picks.
It's
We were
also
pretty
gonna be
quick.
a really
I thought we did it really
late
quick
game.
for
We're going
26
to-
players.
2 hours.
It's about content, really.
I wasn't even conferring with you. Like,
They have that in the real draft, aren't they? Is it
and
5
that
minutes or-
requires another
yeah,
bit of
level.
technology that
with the second
we don't
pick.
have. Do-do-do-do. We need that
Yeah.
noise. We need the noise.
Da-da-dun,
Yeah.
da-da-dun.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
As always, go the Blues and
Go the West
Go the
Tigers.
Tigers.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you for listening to another West Tigers Life podcast with Josh Barnett, Aaron Statsman Thompson, and Rob Spleen Venter Bechara. Please click subscribe And join us every week in person at the Orange Grove Hotel, while on Sunday nights watch the Coaches Report with Adele ad-free on YouTube by signing up to our Patreon, which you can find at westtigers.com.au. I'll catch you all soon for another episode of West Tigers Life.